live. Welcome everyone to Stack Your Live. I'm Matt with RJ, who is disembodied head today. Well, not even disembodied head, just disembodied today. RJ, how are you?
I'm great. Apparently the combo of using my cell phone as a camera, which has been working, I've done it probably 50 times, has the luck has run out tonight, which is funny because it has not worked before. It's not a beta thing. It just hasn't worked before, but it's always been like, oh, just restart it and it will work. And now it has decided that doesn't matter anymore. So I am here. I am just not in front of your faces.
Yep. Apparently, the day one betas have finally caught up with you.
Okay, it's beta 2 now. It's not day 1 beta. It's beta 2. Also, I don't think it's the betas. I think it's just the phone being finicky. Because it's a weird protocol that they use to make the phone the camera, because they take it off Wi-Fi and use cellular. So it's storming in the area, so it actually could be like the storms.
That's fair. You could try the MacBook camera at some point.
I could. That is a possibility, except I have 2 giant monitors in front of me, or 2 good-sized monitors in front of me, which means I have absolutely no place to actually put the camera. Because I have a 16-inch MacBook Pro.
Nice.
So,
well, we'll see what happens.
So I deleted a Gmail account, so I had to go log back into all of the TVs in the house, because we have like 6 Apple TVs in my house. So I was frantically doing that between when I got off of work and doing this. If I had gotten on at my usual time, when there was like 15 minutes before we went live, I would have figured this all out. I probably would have moved to the big comfy couch with just my laptop and my iPad as a second screen. That did not happen. And Keith, shut your dirty mouth. I am never getting an Android phone. I am potentially getting I have talked to Matt about this before, about getting an Instagram 360 or whatever like camera they make to use as a webcam, because that apparently is very good quality. I deleted 3 Gmails yesterday, 1 by accident and 2 on purpose. It was great.
There we go. Got some folks chiming in, double, letting you know it's time to switch to Android. No. Keith letting you know it's time to switch to Android. Points with Philip joining us. Hey, everyone, hit the like button. I concur. Also mentioning that MacBook camera doesn't hit as well as the iPhone camera.
It does not. The iPhone camera is a legitimately very good camera when you're using it as a webcam. Which is, I've used it, I think, for all but like 4 Stack Your Points. So it's something that I use regularly. And today it decided, no, thank you.
Yeah. Interesting developments, but it'll be back soon. It's fine.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
Must have been hard. We got Juan Miomix joining us. Hey, Juan, how's it going? He agrees with Keith. The artist formerly known as Pingasso says, I've had both. Android is not a bad phone. They're not bad phones. It's just not RJ's jam.
The problem is not that Android is good or bad. That really is not the problem. The problem is I have so many Apple devices that rely on my phone as like the center point of the process, that changing the phone would necessitate other changes I just don't want to make. If I had on a system like all Samsung stuff, that would be one thing. But my very expensive headphones would now not really work with my phone in the same way. So like that would also be a problem, right? Because I have the AirPods Max. So a lot of those things would just not work. I think anybody who wants to be Android is like, Lonnie's a big Android guy. I have no problem with Android in that way. I just don't want to have to replace all of my equipment that I count on because I've switched phones. Like, it's a walled garden. I fully admit that. Hey, I fixed it.
Definitely a walled garden.
Apparently, I did the restart. I didn't log into my phone. I just put it up there after the restart. I had to put my PIN in before it would recognize me.
Interesting. Hey, we've got RJ.
Yes.
Perfect. Some minor technical issues, but it's fine. We
It was the first 5 minutes. We have done worse in the first 5 minutes of a live or a stack your points. We're good.
Yes. L-Man Gaming, let's kick it off strong, Matt. Are premium travel cards on the way out? No. Premium travel cards are not on the way out. Premium travel cards are becoming more premium. Honestly, what I think is happening right now is the banks are currently looking at the current economic situation, and they are guarding. They're tightening up some things up right now, where they want to continue to make profits off of their high-end cards and keeping clientele who are going to commit to those cards. And we'll probably see another cycle where things will loosen up and the annual fee will remain the same, but because economic trends will shift, more people will have access to them. I don't think they're on the way out, but I do think that the current model right now is jack things up, keep who you can. Whoever isn't along for the ride will be back later.
So I have a slightly different take on this. I think that like the platinum card has always been noteworthy, right? Like it's always been a card that has, I mean, it's been around 40 years, right? Like it's been a minute. I think the industry actually took the wrong lesson from the platinum card and takes the wrong lesson from American Express in general. I think the thing about the American Express Platinum card is that, yes, it's expensive. It's a coupon book. It's a travel subscription that gets you 5x on flights, right? Like we all, like Lonnie and I both have the card and we have made the joke. Craig has the card and he has made the joke, right? Like we all know what it is. I think people looked at the platinum, other banks looked at the platinum, and they're like, oh, we can just do X, Y, and Z. That's why this card is popular. But the platinum card isn't popular because of the credits. It's not popular because of even the 5X. Like, it's popular because American Express put in 40 years of making this a thing, of making this a symbol of something. And Americans love, for better or worse, a symbol. They love something, especially something like if you look at the demographics in this country, Matt, you can buy yourself a glass of $10 bourbon instead of the phone. But Americans love a symbol that feels slightly out of reach, but is attainable, right? Like, especially if and when I use like class, people think I mean current class. The class you were born and raised in is kind of the class that's always in the back of your head, right? Like, I am solidly middle class, but like, I didn't always have that growing up, right? So my mindset is not always at the middle class point. So if you give Americans the symbol that they can reach for, and you give people who are above that a symbol that feels necessary or like ingrained in a certain kind of person has this card and they want to be that certain kind of person, that card is going to be popular. That card is going to have a certain cachet. That is why, in my opinion, the platinum is what it is. You can't, even if you copied the multipliers, you copied the credits, you copied everything, right? You ripped off the card 100%. And even you had built level of transfer partners, right? So you don't have Delta, but you have more transfer partners. You've got United, you've got that, right? Like, even if you have all of that, it's not going to be the same because the feeling of pulling it out of your wallet to those people who either know they, quote, should have it because of where they are, or the people who felt like they worked to a certain point to get it, feel when they pull it out of their wallet. Now, look, I think a lot of people talk about flexing on it, like, oh, this card is a flex. And like, that is silly. Like, if you're 22, it's not really a flex. But if you're in your 30s and you grew up like on assistance for lunch for school, and like you got the good job, you're maybe a master electrician or something now, there is a certain amount of pride, whether it actually is hard to get the card or not, we're going to put that to the side. But there is a certain amount of pride and those signs of feeling like you've accomplished something. You have accomplished more than maybe your ninth grade guidance counselor said you were ever going to. And look, I know I'm psychoanalyzing this card, but these symbols in America are important. They are things that we gravitate to. And I think that the idea of this card being something more than just a credit card or a charge card is really important in sort of the American sort of poltergeist, right? And I don't think any other company has tapped into that. That is why the platinum is in a category of its own. Forget the Centurion, forget the actual quote rich people cards, right? Forget the ones for people who grew up with the last name Kennedy or the last name Rockefeller or Rothschild, right? Those people don't necessarily need, like, they're talking private jets and things. But for a certain class of Americans, these symbols are important. And the platinum is a symbol. The CSR is not that symbol. Now, can Chase try to make it one? Sure. But it's not going to be overnight, and it's not going to just be copying the mechanism of the platinum card. So I think that is the missing sauce of all of these cards. And this is coming from somebody who grew up in that, right? My mom had a good job, but she was a single mom. So, it wasn't all, caviar and rainbows, right? Like, it just was. Like, I'm from the upstate of New York, right? Like, you pull up from Albany to Plattsburgh's, like, income. Like, those are the people I know. That is the place I come from, right? So, like, for me, like, those status symbols are things that are ingrained in you. Now, being in the credit card community has taken some of, like, the shine off the rose, for better or worse. But yeah, there is still a feeling when I use my platinum card that a little part of me, and not the part that is rational and not the part that is, like, actually, like, the credit card nerd, but there is a little tiny part of me that I want the 13, 14, 15-year-old me to know I will get there one day. For better or worse, that kid needed to know that this was a possibility. And I think that is what American Express has a better grip on than any other credit card company, because they will paint you that picture. And then they will sell you a $695 travel subscription for the pleasure of having that card in your wallet. So I think that is the sauce that no other issuer can tap, because they haven't tried to. They've tried to appeal to actual well-off people, and they've appealed to the people who don't know how to have a credit card without paying interest. But to get that section of that middle class to upper middle class who wants those symbols to feel better, like, I remember my grandfather when he got that big screen TV, and then my uncle got a bigger TV. So my grandfather had to get a bigger TV still, because those were symbols, right? To a certain section of people, having a bigger TV is a symbol. And yes, some of it is silly and some of it is performative, but symbols are important. So I think some of these things we don't talk about them because we say, oh, you're flexing with a platinum card, and it's silly. And it is. And if you're 22, you don't really know how to act in public. But yeah, I think some of that is the secret sauce. And yes, I know I'm going hard on the psychoanalysis tonight. But maybe I need to leave my camera off more and I'll solve it psychoanalysis right out of the gate. But yeah, I think that's part of the reason that American Express is so successful. And every time somebody tries to copy them, tries to copy their cards, copy their style, copy what is working for them, it feels wrong. It feels like it does not fit, because the platinum card is a weird card unless it fits you. And it's a luxury card, but it's not. Like, the Walmart Plus thing is far more middle America than it is premium, but it's super helpful for a lot of people. So I think these things, like, once you start digging into these things, and look, I was a sociology major in college, so a lot of this stuff is is stuff that I've been thinking about for years, just not in this context. But yeah, I think that is the secret sauce of Amex. And Chase can't reproduce that. Like, they might be able to reproduce that if you make $5 or $6 million a year and you have your own private banker, but like most people who are getting the CSR do not qualify for a private, like that actual private banker, not the person who's got 60 clients that most don't need their attention, so they feel like they have their own one-on-one. So yeah, I think these cards are going to become more popular if they can land that right fit, if they can make you feel like you've made it with that status symbol. Yeah, M2K, I think the CSR and Platinum are a lot like Android and Apple. I want to say it's 53% of Americans have an iPhone. It is overwhelmingly, in terms of success, the single most successful phone in America. And I say that because Android is Samsung and it's Motorola and it's other brands, right? It's not just Google. It is a bunch of brands. So for singular issuer, for better word, maker of phones, it is the most successful phone. And there is my niece and nephew are the right age that when somebody texts them with a green bubble, they pay attention to it. They might not go, ew, green bubble, but they pay attention to those things. Those things are symbols. And America loves a symbol. From the Statue of Liberty to, what have you. I'm trying to skirt YouTube's rules here. But yeah, I think that is my take on premium cards. I think they're always going to be second to the Platinum until they can capture that in the zeitgeist, until they can sort of recreate that magic of that feeling of pulling out that card. Because Matt, you have the CSR and you grew up not terribly far from me, a different world at times, between up and down state. But like, I'm assuming that feeling of pulling out that CSR is not always the feeling of, man, that 14-year-old kid would be really impressed by this.
No, teenager me wouldn't give a shit. Yes, I have the CSR. The Platinum doesn't quite fit what I try to do. I don't travel enough, honestly, for the Platinum. I'm not on planes enough for the Platinum. The CSR is not just an air travel specific card. I'm going to say was because the new CSR, I'm still trying to comprehend what that card is. The CSR, when I applied for it, was an everywhere travel card. Whether I'm taking Amtrak, whether I'm on the road, it doesn't do gas, but like covers my hotels, it covers all my other basic travel, all of that. It is not just the flights and the lounges, and I appreciate what Chase is doing with lounges, but like I do not fly enough for the Platinum. Is one of the big reasons why. And I like a card that does a little bit more in terms of my everyday spend than the Platinum. If I was booking flights all the time, the Platinum would make significantly more sense.
Yeah, and I book enough flights because I am the person that books all of the flights for my family and then they pay me back. That it is kind of like it's a Blue Business Plus basically every time I'm booking, 2 or 3 people on a flight. And look, Keith, you and I come from very different worlds, right? Like, I understand that for a lot of people who grew up in a higher socioeconomic status, it is a tool. And for me at this point in my life, that is what they have become. But there is still something to the psychology of it that it tickles the brain. It's the same way when, and I know you use Rakuten and I know you do different things for like your meal kits and stuff. Like when you get one that's like 95% cash back, right? And you hit that big score, you get that boost. Like it's the same sort of thing. It's just in a different package, right? Like, and I'm not saying people should define their worth, nor am I saying you actually do I define my worth by these cards. It's not a matter of worth. It's a matter of, oh my God, I've actually achieved something more than I did, and this is a symbol of it. Again, symbols aren't necessarily a good or bad thing. They just sort of are at times. Some are good, some are bad, but some are just marking points. Graduating high school, graduating college, those are also symbols, right? And yeah, Filmo, they have opened it up. They absolutely have. And that's why some people who feel they've made that step have it. So yeah, no, it's not going to apply to everyone. The people I am talking to are the people sort of I grew up with and are around. I am from a different community than a lot of places when people think of New York, right? That's why I usually caveat it with I am upstate, because my version of New York is different than Matt's, different than, the people way down south. Like if you're in Manhattan, like your experience with New York is very different than mine. So, and different than Matt's. Also, the New York City next couple months in New York City are going to be fun. With the little bit of a horse race down there.
Yes.
Also, I need to get a drink, so my camera's going to go off, but I promise I'm not going away.
Catching up on some comments here. We got Henry in Louisville. Premium cards went to elite and mid-tier cards, getting ready to jump up to the old premium prices. Now the community will have to come up with a new name for the new tier between mid-tier and $0 entry. I think there's just going to be like an entry-level travel card. I think that's all you have to worry about there. M2K, any tips for Rakuten? If you're using Rakuten on your phone, go through the app. Almost always guarantees that you're going to get the purchase done. Oh, and don't have any ad blockers of any sort running while trying to run Rakuten. That is 99% of the time how I have lost my Rakuten deals. Keith sent the super chat from an iPhone, so that's why it ended in 99 cents. Clinton doesn't define his worth by what card he has. Points with Philip mentioned, and we're a little bit behind. I'm catching up as quickly as I can. As someone who relied on that free school breakfast and lunch, yeah, I agree with this. That feeling of accomplishment in figuring out these tools is something. The artist formerly known as Pingasso. I grew up with free lunch. My kids get catered lunch at school. Catered lunch. There we go.
Catered lunch is nice.
The psychological aspect hits hard. Absolutely. Also, I wanted to quickly shout out some folks who said hey earlier, and we'll see where they are. YouTube Experiment, John R, Kirby G. Thank you so much, everyone. 521 Taipei. There's pride if you always pay your Amex statement balance every month. Yep. Rewards Master is here. Good to be here. Thank you so much, Rewards Master. Upstate New York is beautiful. Yes.
Can confirm.
Albany Plattsburgh, further upstate than me. I feel like YouTuber Experiment is somewhere between RJ
you and me.
Yeah.
So I affectionately, there are two things that I call the area of New York I live in: Little Vermont or Little Canada, because it depends on sort of your point of view. I am basically in Vermont, geographically, like culturally. I am basically New England. I know that technically New England stops at the New York border, but not really. Like the Northeast New England, where I am, is one and the same. Like,
everything north of Rensselaer County is basically Vermont or Quebec, whichever you feel like using at any given time.
Like there are signs around me in French, like fully. Yeah. I mean, they have the English translation as well, but they're in French translated to English. It's not like English and then we'll put the little French like in smaller letters. Like in the summer, as I affectionately say, the Northway, which anybody up here is going to know. The Northway is more. You will see more license plates from Canada than you will New York for quite a lot of the year. So I am in that type of New York. I can get to Canada faster than I can get to the city.
Yes. Keith mentions he'd never get a Centurion card. It's a stupid earning card. It has a reverse welcome offer. Credit card is a tool for me, not a symbol. Ian mentions Sapphire Reserve is garbage compared to the Platinum card when you're talking about trying to be a premium or luxury card. It literally does nothing for you except get you into a limited number of chase lounges. Whatever. It's a better everyday card. IMO.
I mean, any any card is going to be a better any day card than the platinum. Like, that's the thing, is the platinum is meant for two people. People who fly, or people who are literally, they don't care. They just want a card with basically no limit. Like, if you're putting 100, 200, 300,000 a year through your platinum and Amex is happy with you, you don't functionally have a limit for any situation you're going to encounter most days of the year.
Yeah. Keith also mentions Amex is the best marketing department in the game. No other bank is even close. Yep. I mean, if Chase would stop paying Kevin Hart, maybe they could try, but like, they got their thing going. M2K mentions CSR like Platinum is a lot like Android versus Apple. Yeah, I can see that in the credit card world. Chase's top tier is the JP Morgan Reserve, which is basically an overglorified CSR. For now, I think that's going to change, but that's just me. We got Gabister joining us. I sent a secure message to Chase to see if they would match the welcome offer for the Sapphire Reserve, and the reply is they won't match it. I opened the account a week before the refresh. Ooh.
Yeah, I've heard there was somebody who opened it a day before. Why you would do that? I think they were trying to get the lower annual fee and then try to get the higher welcome offer. It was on Reddit, so grain of salt, but they wouldn't match it either. If a card is going to come out, it's going to come out with a higher welcome offer. Don't take the chance.
Yep. Yeah. No, there's no real way to win on that one. Chase is usually pretty good about that one, but this is more fuel on the fire when Lonnie and I said that the CSR is a brand new card. This version of the CSR is a brand new card. Chase is treating it like a brand new card. Like, this is a new product. Filmo mentions that the platinum card was a symbol. Amex gives it out to anyone with a social security number now. Certainly.
If you have the card or in the credit card world, you're going to know that. If you're somebody who is not, I don't think it's changed.
Yeah. Packaging for the Sapphire Reserve came in was far superior to the platinum card. Well, that's because like Chase right now is doing pomp and circumstance. It's fine. Prefers upstate to New York City, and I used to love New York City. Upstate's pretty good. I'm not gonna go
unless you're a big Mileage Plus X fan.
Yes. Filmos World, I'm upstate. RJ is way upstate. Yeah.
Yes.
But you're both in Canada to me. Wells Fargo is the new travel cards for average people. Yes.
The Journey is a great card. Like, if you either do cashback or you like a portal or you can use their transfer partner, Wells Fargo is legit. The problem is there are caveats. Like, there are. I mean, there's caveats with every bank, but Wells Fargo has a couple of extras. Like, when you don't have the access to Delta, United, or American, like, you have a caveat. A lot of banks don't have access to one of those three.
No. Robert J. Rakuten keeps failing for me using Apple Pay yesterday. I had to fall back on Shopify. Ouch.
Never use Apple Pay with Rakuten. I have never gotten a single point from an Apple Pay purchase with Rakuten. They don't recognize. I talked to a rep. They don't recognize it because they can't verify the card in the same way.
That makes sense given that Apple Pay runs on a slightly different protocol. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Clinton's going to go off and grab himself a drink. Yes. Also, I mixed Pepsi Zero Sugar Wild Cherry and Cream with this marshmallow chocolate whiskey. Let me tell you, don't. I have huge regrets on that one. That was a mistake. Keith mentions that the Northway is my favorite road in the Northeast to drive. Yeah, the Northway is pretty cool. The
Taconic Parkway is also very fun, especially when you're driving it when there's literally not another soul on it for miles.
My only issue with the Taconic is that it doesn't go far enough upstate. It just stops in Columbia County.
It does, but usually I go from the Northway or whatever we're calling it at that moment over to the Taconic to go downstate. So for me, coming north to south, it works just fine.
Let me just say the death walls at the tail end of Dutchess and in Putnam are annoying.
Yes.
Ian mentions that if you can drive to Burlington, you should go to Ida, best pizza in Vermont.
I go to Burlington fairly often. I'm doing a spend a night in each state, and funny enough, I have never spent a night in Vermont because I am from New York right next to Vermont, so I have never had an occasion to. So I'm going to Burlington for my night in Vermont at some point.
Pingasso enjoying an adult beverage and a cigar right now. Man, the cigar sounds really good.
Oh, what kind of cigar?
Schmeckle Cat joins us saying greetings. Greetings, Schmeckle Cat. Kay mentions if Chase made their everyday card commercials actually make sense for everyday people as opposed to a rich comedian trying to buy a basketball team. Yeah.
I don't know.
Platinum's not a good earning card. I don't use it for much except current home build, getting to the $75,000 spend to have free lounge for a family throughout 2027. As long as you have a use case for it, then the 75K works.
That's a lot. So I did the math on how many people I would have to bring in to the lounge, and how many flights I would have to do. Like, I get it if you're naturally putting 75K through that card, but you have to have a family bigger than the one that Craig feeds for that card to make sense to do the 75K.
YouTube mentions maybe Filmo and him are neighbors. Y'all aren't far apart. I know where Filmo is. I know where you are, YouTube Experiment. It ain't far. It's a little bit of a drive.
We need a New York. Creators meetup, because at this point there's probably a decent amount between me and the city.
Yeah. Clinton's got the Wells Fargo Active Cash and Journey currently, thinking about the Active Cash and Autograph, thinking about the Journey. Journey's a nice add-in. The Active Cash could then suck up all of your non-hotel and flight travel, because the Journey will guarantee it at 3% across the board. Filmo asks, how many JetBlue flights is too many? Well, by the end of the year, 25 destinations. If you do 26, I think you've gone a little too far.
Matt, are you even tempted? So explain to people why we're talking about 25, and then say if you're tempted to do such a thing, because it's possible in about a week.
In about a week, it's possible. That is a lot of travel in a week. So what we're talking about, JetBlue this week announced for their 25th birthday. Can't believe JetBlue made it to 25 years. For their 25th birthday, if you fly to 25 destinations, it has to be destinations. If you fly to 25 destinations, you're going to end up earning 350,000 TrueBlue points and Mosaic 1 status for 25 years. Now, the 350,000 points is awesome. I like this. I like this very much. I'm about 70,000 points away from being able to just transfer that all one-to-one from Chase over to JetBlue. Am I going to do that? Hell no. But it gives you an idea of how many points they're giving away here. You fly to 25 destinations.
Different destinations, let's be clear. 25. You can't just go back and forth.
Yes. 25 different destinations. You will get Mosaic 1 for 25 years. I am tempted to do this.
Matt, come on. You and I will put together an itinerary for you. You know how much I love to plan travel.
Here's the thing, though. I don't want to do this solo. And the reason for that is I could be able, if I did this with my offspring, with my daughter. My daughter is 5. She could have status with JetBlue until she's 30, which is awesome, right?
But you're also with a 5-year-old for so many flights.
On the one time that I took her on a plane, she was very, very spectacular on that flight. She was very well behaved. I'm tempted to do this. I want to do this with my daughter. I want to do this with my player too, just so that they would have status, so that when they're flying on their own, they're covered. My daughter's covered, but now I'm doing it from a factor of X1 to X3, and oh my God, everything's so much more expensive when you do X3.
Yeah. Multiplying things by 3 does tend to elevate the price a little bit.
Yes. So I'm very tempted to do it. It would be a lot of one-way flights. Like the what I'm thinking would be like 4 or 5 flights in a weekend where like I'm in the lower Hudson Valley. I have about 5 different airports I could start from. It really doesn't matter what airport you start from. It's where you end. Your origin flight does not count toward this. It's the destination flight that counts. So if I fly from JFK and I fly to Fort Lauderdale counts. JFK doesn't mean nothing until I fly back to JFK.
Right.
So I could fly to Fort Lauderdale. From Fort Lauderdale, I could fly down to San Juan. From San Juan, I could fly up to Orlando. And from that, I have 1, 2, 3 destinations. And then from Orlando, I could fly back into HPN so that I keep JFK as a destination on another flight. But I've picked up JFK to FLL would be 1. FLL to SJU would be 2. SJU to MCO would be 3. MCO to HPN would be 4. So in a weekend, potentially, because I would have to make sure that all of these would work. You could do 4 destinations in a weekend. If you do this for 10 weeks, and this is over 6 months, if you do that for 10 weeks, that is actually, if you did 4 flights over 10 weeks, that's 40 destinations.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very tempting. I want to try to do something where both like my player 2, my daughter, and I could do like 4 flights in a weekend. Not want to kill each other.
That is the hard part of this is the we don't all kill each other at the end of the experiment.
But I'm very tempted to try and figure this out.
Tom Grossi did 30 and 30, Matt. If you did
I can't take that much time to work.
30 and 180.
30 and 180 might be doable. Yeah.
I'm just saying it would be great content.
Yeah. Clinton filled his glass. This is cheers. I'm sure this is in response to my Pepsi Zero Sugar Wild Cherry and marshmallow chocolate whiskey. Look, I thought it would work. It was a terrible idea.
He was trying. I was trying.
Kirby G sounds like an amazing drink that you somehow always end up drunk with. Yes. Where did you get that chocolate marshmallow whiskey? So let me tell you, it is Bubba's Secret Stills MC, so marshmallow chocolate. America's most whatever. Bubba's. Wherever you can find Bubba's, there is a chocolate marshmallow or marshmallow chocolate version. This was a gift for me for my birthday. Every birthday, Christmas, my sister just decides to get me booze.
So I did ask people for questions in the Stack Your Points Discord. Shout out to Stack Your Points Discord. I want to start with Keith's because I feel like this will be fun for you, Matt.
Yes.
Which bank will save us from the CSR hell timeline? Keith, always very succinct to his point.
I don't know.
Will the Wells Fargo Beyond save us all, Matt? Will that be the savior of credit cards? Will the Platinum refresh be the savior of credit cards? It won't, but
I'm going to reach out to my person next week. I have a person that I always like check in with every couple of months. So I'll check in with my person. I'm not sure it's going to be Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo right now. So like Beyond, I'm sure Beyond is packed and ready to go. It's packed. It's calling the Uber. It's just waiting to go to the airport. The problem is Wells Fargo cannot launch Beyond with the same travel partners that they currently have.
I mean, who are they going to get?
They should start burning the phones and getting the same travel partners that Rove and Mesa have signed up with. It's
But is
not a
Air
big
India
three.
going to?
Is Air India going to move the
anywhere?
needle? No.
Like if you say you've got 400 travel partners, but nobody's heard of 387 of them, and like, look, Americans be American, but like, I'm still. I'm asking this sincerely. Like, I'm not trying to like get you in a gotcha. I
know.
I'm to the point where I actually don't think they do need more partners. I think if they did a points boost the way that Chase just took away, they would get so much goodwill from that people would not care.
The only problem is their travel portal sucks.
Well, a lot of travel portals suck, Matt. That's kind of the problem.
Yeah, but like the Chase travel portal is actually not terrible, and they give you
fine.
that. They give you that gamble. It's not Papa Joe. Okay, there you go.
Do you need an Amex? Well, I mean, you need a card with Amex that can generate points, but I didn't know you needed that specifically that for.
Any Amex card works, but going the BBP gives you the no annual fee option. So, James Ragland's with us. Hey, James. So I would, if Wells bought Rove, made Rove the travel portal, that would be cool. But right now,
you want an AI company that's running on Red Bull and VC money to be bought by Wells, because they already kind of have that company under their umbrella, and we yell about it a lot.
Yes. But if they brought it in-house and I don't know, maybe.
Matt, do you want Built and Rove both in the same zip code?
Builds transfer partners with Rove's VC funded points acquisition. Yes, that would be amazing.
But the VC money is going to run out, especially if Wells buys them.
Yes, but then it's Wells's money.
I love that you're evil professoring this, but it's not happening.
Third largest bank. Also, Pingasso Screwball's amazing. It is my favorite peanut butter whiskey.
When I used to drink, Screwball was quite delicious.
Yes. With no sub. Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. Brunch spot. Oh, the cigar was Nub from Olivia Nuance.
I've heard of that.
Keith, sometimes you just gotta experiment a little bit, and yeah, no, it was bad. It was bad.
Mike.
Oh, we got Mike Newland dropping. Oh, he's dropped another 20 memberships on my channel. Mike, please, when we're able to open up memberships in 2 weeks,
32 away. We're 32 away.
32 away. So 32 subscribers on the Stack Your Points side away from hitting the magical 500 number to let us open up memberships. Tell your friends, tell your partners, tell your children.
The only time I'll tell you to pressure your player 2 into doing something credit card related is to subscribe to Stack Your Points.
Yeah. Glenn mentions the active cash gets all your base spend at 2% on the active cash. Autograph doesn't get much use while I have the CSR, but that could change. Yup. Kirby G. Oh, and what bank would save us from this hell? There's no bank that will save us from this hell right now. Kirby G, me and some buddies took a road trip from Cleveland to Cooperstown. Awesome. For the Hall of Fame induction. They're Twins fans supporting Joe Mauer. Joe Mauer was awesome. Mm-hmm. Spent a few years in New York City, but upstate New York is beautiful. Miss it. Yup. I've
gone to Cooperstown a couple of times, and it is, every time you go there, if you're a baseball fan, look, I'm a Red Sox fan. The Yankees are the bane of my existence. But, you hear they were playing the movie where Lou Gehrig is giving his speech, right? And even as dyed in the wool of a Red Sox fan as I am, you get that emotion, that swelling of, men playing boys games, feeling of baseball. I adore Cooperstown.
Yeah. No, they're great, and they've got some pretty fantastic breweries around the area as well.
Credit card YouTube meetup at Cooperstown. There's probably enough baseball fans to do that.
Yeah, we can do that. Want me on my? Oh, do it. Yeah, that's the 25 flights, the 25 destinations. Yep. Pingasso is opening Cooperstown. Okay. Ithaca is gorgeous. Oh, we got Dr. Vinny Boombots joining us. Hey, man. Long time no see. Gotta jump into the voice chat at some point on the Stacker Points Discord. This JetBlue promo is trash. It's 200k miles to do 20 destinations. You net 100 to 150. Yeah, no, I'm not in it for the 100 and I'm not in it for the 350,000 points. And I don't have the 50k in spend every year on the credit card to get. So no, I want the status for 25 years. I can just set it and forget it.
Here's the thing that I'll give them credit for, right? If they just did the 25 or 30 destinations, 25 years of Mosaic, or is it 25 destinations? I don't remember.
25 destinations, 25 years.
Okay. So if they just did that one, right? And you're at 24, like, and something happens, you can't get that 25th one, and you get nothing, people would lose their minds. At least in the way they did it, if something happens and you get to 15 or 20, you at least get something, right? Yeah. Like you at least get something if you can't quite get to the 25.
Yeah, and if you're doing Blue Basic, like if you're just sitting at $99 in like $100 seats, right? I've got the credit card. The credit card would take care of my bag, so I don't have to pay for the bag. I don't have to worry about the Blue covers a personal bag. I've got TSA pre-check now, so I don't have to worry about paying for expedited security. I could make it work. $100 a pop, 25. That's $2,500. That's 25 years of Mosaic status instead of paying $50,000 on through a JetBlue card. Yeah, and it'd be $50,000 a year, and I don't have any other airline status to match over to JetBlue.
It's only like $25,000 to buy the tiles, Matt.
Oh boy. Ooh, well, no, you'd be getting like Mosaic 4 if you paid the $25,000. It's significantly less to buy 50 tiles. Kids are expensive. Yo, don't I know it? Sam Ka, I have an upgrade offer to Platinum from Gold to 6K spend. I might take it and downgrade to Gold again as the Gold works best for my lifestyle. Yeah, no, nothing wrong with that.
There are offers if you wait sometimes that'll be like 2K spend for 50,000. So it depends on how many points they're throwing at you. That 6K spend, if it's 50, is a little bit high.
Yeah. Picasso's never flown JetBlue. How is it? I like JetBlue. More space, more legroom in economy than any other airline. It's not by much, but like those 2 or 3 inches can definitely add up. Their preferred seatings is fantastic, and their even more seats are even better. I haven't flown Mint yet. I can't tell you about Mint.
Wait, there's seats behind first class? There's something on the other side of the curtain?
No, don't you worry about that.
Okay. I'm gonna pretend I didn't hear that.
Yeah. Matt momentarily gone cray-cray. Bell's unit will squash it faster than talking about buying a boat. I don't know. We'll see. JetBlue not an option for me. They don't fly here. That's annoying because JetBlue's great. Mike Newland, are you able to book a point or is this cash only? It is points, cash, or points and cash. However you want to do it. Oh, and you can pick up destinations along the way if you do a flight that does a stopover or a any sort of layover. The layover counts as a destination. So if you do a flight, it just has to be JetBlue metal to a jet, and JetBlue has to fly the entire flight. So if you were to do a layover where you flew from LaGuardia to Boston to Chicago, Boston and Chicago count. LaGuardia would not until you fly back into LaGuardia, or if you flew back into JFK, JFK would count.
So what you need to do is find the Golden Unicorn 3 layover flight from LaGuardia to LAX and take that. Because that's 4 destinations in one flight.
Yeah, and not get killed along the way.
Yeah.
Matt is tempting fate. Maybe. This flies out. How's there only 4 likes? Let's fix that. Yeah, more likes on both channels, please. Because I'm simulcasting on my channel and the Stack Your Points channel. So please, if you're on my channel, go over to Stack Your Points, hit like, hit subscribe. let's keep growing the channel over there. Matt, try screwball with a try screwball with a splash of cranberry. Tastes like peanut butter and jelly. That sounds amazing.
There was a question from Double Double, friend of the channel and now page master, because he put together a very nice sort of a reference guide, so to speak, like what does MQD mean? Because we throw around these terms all the time, and if you're newer or just not familiar with certain things, because Keith likes to make up Amex terms, you know, it's nice to have a reference. So I said, if anybody puts one together and posts it in reference, I will give them a title because I have that power in the Discord. And I did. And I saw a meme for the 1990s movie, The Page Master, with Macaulay Culkin. So that was on my mind. So that's the title he got. But he asked us a question that I think you and I will have different approaches on, but I think it'll be a fun conversation. How do you approach giving credit card recommendations to people? I mean, everyday people, not the maximizers here. Feel free to disregard since you've talked about it in the past, but I enjoy the conversation. Be interesting in more discussions around your thought process on different travel portals, your predictions, things like that. So Matt, when somebody asks you in your sort of everyday life, maybe a coworker or something, they're not a credit card person, how do you approach going out and giving them advice that's actually helpful, right? Because we can just say, oh, go get the autograph card and not really like give them much other than, oh yeah, get this card. And maybe they'll get this card because maybe they don't care and off they go. But how do you sort of approach those conversations?
So the first question I always ask someone who's asking about credit cards is, what is your end result? Are you looking for cash back, or are you looking to amplify your travel? If you're looking to amplify your travel, okay, what airlines do you fly currently? And what airports do you primarily use? Because your home airport is going to dictate far more than you would think. Because if somebody is primarily using a spoke airport that will go to an American hub or a United hub, or in your case, a Delta hub, right? A spoke airport is going to be a little bit more limiting than a hub. Because a hub still makes a lot of sense, but a spoke airport, you absolutely need the co-brand of the primary spoke carrier. Well, okay, I'm not going to say you absolutely need it, but it is extraordinarily helpful, right?
There are, I just want to butt in, there are some, like 30% of the flights out of Albany are Southwest. For me, I am never flying Southwest, so that's not going to happen. So there are some caveats that before somebody comments and says that Albany is not a Delta hub, no, it is not.
No.
But for a legacy carrier, they are either one or two. They flip back and forth with American. Also not flying American. They're more expensive. Anyway, sorry. I didn't want to cut you off, but I wanted to get ahead of comments.
Yeah. So in the specific case of Albany, right? Albany has Delta. It does have some American flights, but your American flights are primarily going down to Charlotte. Why would you do that?
Thank you.
Your Delta flights are usually going to either LGA if you're staying domestic, or Delta if you're going transcontinental, or
Albany or Atlanta, you mean? You said Delta. You said they were flying to Delta.
Sorry. Albany, you're flying to LGA, or you're flying to Atlanta, primarily. LGA if you're staying domestic. Atlanta if you're also staying domestic, or primarily going transcontinental.
Right.
Or international sometimes. But like a Delta card would work best for you. But like my approach is, what is your first use case? Are you cashback or are you travel? Because if you're cashback, offering you the American Express Platinum is stupid. Offering you the American Express Business Platinum when you have no intention of really using a huge amount of cash back also feels stupid. It's still possible. If you open up a business checking and you cash out at 1 cent per point, you can do that. That's no problem. But why? So if you are looking to do cashback or offer up cashback options, then ask like, what is your highest appreciable category spend? Right? Like, what do you spend the most on? Is it groceries? Is it gas? Is it you don't have one? right? Because that would tell me offer you a catch-all if you don't have one, right? A strong 2% card beats everything out. If you are huge into grocery, okay, I can't offer the Wells Fargo autograph. I can't offer the Wells Fargo autograph. I can offer the Capital One Saver if grocery is the primary concern to you. Do you care about annual fees? Paying an annual fee can lead to higher multipliers. Are you willing to pay for higher multipliers? The other thing would just be like, do you happen to have $100,000 in assets if you're going the cashback game? Oh, you do? Okay. Are you willing to open a bank account or move your investments or however you've got your 100,000? Are you willing to move that over to Bank of America if you're doing cashback? Because if you're doing cashback and you have $100,000 in assets, it really doesn't make sense not to be with Bank of America.
Yeah.
So there are, I will question the person and go from there. And just try and run very, if I'm sober, many if-else questions. If I'm drunk, I may just be like, just get this card. It's 2% cash back. You're going to be fine. Don't worry about
it. One interesting thing that I've noticed, and I've talked to Matt about this before, is like in the credit card space, I'm mostly talking to men, right? Like the credit card space is at least the YouTube community is very male dominated. But when I'm talking to people about credit cards in my personal life, they're almost always women, which is a very different dynamic. Because here's the thing is like, as much as you guys all think like you're handling the finances in your house, the person who actually can tell you how much you spent on groceries last month is probably your female partner. And when I talk to women about credit cards, are you okay, Matt? Your eyes got very wide for a second.
Just realizing how much of this I've drank.
Yes. But when I talk to women about credit cards, their relationship to credit cards is very different than what typically I get met with men. And it's more of a cautious, it tends to be more of a cautious path forward. They know and I do similar to what Matt does. Are you looking for cash back or are you looking for travel? I tend to, with the people I have conversations with, just from the conversations we have in general, have a sense of, I'm not even going to go the Bank of America route with a lot of people, just because women talk about things, I think sometimes a little more honestly when it comes to finance. So I have a sense before of like, oh, I know you don't have $100,000, so I'm not going to ask you that question to make you feel bad and then go this route. So I think that comes into it, right? Like women have a different relationship with money. They have a different relationship with household finance. They tend to, and again, these are the conversations I'm having with friends of mine, they have a different relationship with spend, and their focus is, I want a good grocery card, or are there any good cards for like the things I'm into? Like the categories men tend to focus on spend for are the big ticket travel and stuff like that. When I talk to a lot of women, it's like, is there a card that I can use at Walmart or Costco or things like that? Like my kid does travel, like, travel ball. Is there like a Dick's Sporting Good card, right? Like I was asked that last week. So I think that becomes a difference when I talk to my female friends versus when I talk to men in the community. And it's not better or worse, but they're very, very different conversations, and you have to handle them a little bit different. Keith, to your point, I don't talk to them about subs until I get a little bit deeper, because here's the thing about subs, right? Subs are, if you're invested in the game, subs are great. Or if you're trying to get a large amount of points, subs are great. But if I told any of my female friends that I have given credit card advice to over the last year, you got to spend $6,000 in 6 months. Like they would understand the math of that, right? Like $1,000 a month, some of these families are spending that in groceries, right? Like it's not hard. But a lot of people who are not credit card people, if you say you have to spend X amount of money by Y time, they're going to say no immediately right off the bat. They'll be like, if it happens, whatever, but they don't want to spend money the way we want to spend money to hit subs, because most of the people, even if they're into travel, right? Like I had a friend who wants to take their kids to somewhere in Scandinavia. So we were talking about like Alaska, because they're on the West Coast, and like how to do some of that stuff, right? So we were like having a conversation about this, and then I said, well, and I was talking to them about the Alaska sub, um, and this was a little while ago. And I'm like, well, if you spend this in this amount of time, you'll get this. And they're like, I'm not, I can't commit to that, because if I get, they're like the way women tend to, and again, tend to, it's not universal, just like all men are not universal, but the conversations around credit cards are different. So I think that comes into it, because I have those conversations. I almost never see those same conversations happen when men come into the Discord and ask questions. And again, I'm fairly active in the Discord, so if somebody's asking a question, I'm seeing it even if I'm not directly responding to it. I read every comment in that Discord except for Spaithco's special math place. So it becomes this thing of like those conversations. And yeah, YouTube, it is definitely doable. And they acknowledge that, but they are not going to commit to X spend in Y time because of, I think we become desensitized to it, right? Like we have become, oh, I'm just going to spend X amount of money and then I'll get Y amount of points and awesome, right? Like I'm in the middle of a 5K sub for my HG card. Like way too far into it for where I am in how long I've had this card, but that was life. But like I'm used to subs. If I tell most of my female friends, you're going to spend this amount of money in this amount of time, they're going to say no. Like even if they know they're going to spend it, their first thought is no. I don't want to spend $6,000 in 6 months. Like it's that response, right? And I think because we are so used to it, when we give advice to people, you can mention things like that, especially if they're new. You mention it, but you don't push them towards it. And then maybe you follow up, hey, you've had the card for a while. How are you doing with the sign up bonus? Have you thought about it? And then sometimes they'll look and like, oh, I'm at $4,000 in 2 months just on food. Yeah, I'm going to hit it, right? Like at that point, that's when you talk about subs. But people who are brand new to cards, especially women, it's a very different thing. And to Henry, to your point, I don't know the women you live with, but like women look at finance differently. Like in my mother's lifetime, women could not have their own checking accounts or their own credit cards. So what comes with credit cards for women is fundamentally different in certain respects than men. Like that is just a time thing, right? Like women have not had access to financial freedom in the same way. And some women still do not have access to financial freedom in the same way as men. So those conversations are very, very different for me talking to my female friends than being in credit card YouTube and being in our Discord. And it like good, bad, or indifferent, like it is something I notice. So what I would say is if, going in guns blazing, I have learned is just not the best tactic for people who are new to credit cards in general, much less people who are more consistent with it. And yeah, Keith, I talk to them about, $1,000 a month and I do all of that. There are certain people that's never going to work on, right? And a mother who has to balance, a husband who works a night shift and kids and soccer practice and all of that. Subs are not like, they don't care about the things that credit card people care about. They don't. If I said, you don't hit the sub, you don't get the 100,000 points, they say, okay. Like, they don't care about points. Even the people who want to get into it for travel don't care about the points the way we care about the points. Like, there is no earthly reason I am not hitting the 5,000 sub on the IHG card. Like, I'll make it happen. Like even if it's, how I have to cut the card to get that point, right? It'll happen. So it is a different world when I talk to my female friends. And these are women who live all over the country because I work remotely. So I talk to people sort of from all aspects, some different socioeconomic status. So it is a very different world, right? So when I talk to them, I'm pitching it very differently than if I'm in the Discord, like, and somebody's like, hey, I need a travel card, right? Like, it's a different conversation. So it's a different thing. And I think one thing I think that credit card YouTube doesn't do well is we don't talk to people who have different thoughts necessarily than we do when it comes to credit cards. Or we don't say, yes, you have to commit to $1,000 a month. And that seems like a lot. But if you're telling me you're spending $300 a week on food, you're going to hit it. Right? Like because trust me, they all know how much they spend on food if they have teenagers in the house. Trust me, they got that number down. So yeah, my mom was in middle school when women couldn't get a credit score. Like it's not a great part of our history. But it becomes this thing where we have women tend to have different needs, that we have different categories that we're thinking about, because a lot of times women are doing the school, like honestly, women could probably use, quote, correctly, the office supply store category, because they're not going to be the ones buying gift cards. They're going to be buying like the school supplies, right? Like that, like back to school time. If you got a card for a office supply store, go nuts. Like skip the gift cards that month and but all of the notebooks, because now a lot of schools make you buy enough notebooks for the entire class. So
that's actually something I might bring up with when my little one is going into kindergarten, because she is going into kindergarten, just like asking the teacher, are there any extra supplies we could purchase for you?
Yeah. But yeah, I think that it is different conversations. So like if you go in guns blazing to somebody, even man, woman, whatever,
yeah,
if they're not a credit card person and you go in guns blazing, and you can hack whatever you want. I hate gift cards. Anyway, but if you go in guns blazing, unless you know that they're ready for what you're doing, it's probably not going to work the way you think. Right? Like I have a coworker who flies Delta all out. She's got a Delta Reserve. We were talking about it. She mentioned the trigger word Delta Reserve. So I started doing the poke around thing, right? And then I'm like, oh yeah, I just got that card. And her first words to me after I said that were, why didn't you use my referral link? And I'm like, okay, we can start having conversations in a different way than I do with my friends who I literally asked her, and she has a USAA card and an Amazon card, and she couldn't tell me which Amazon card. She just knows it says Amazon.
Probably the Chase card, but who knows? But she said the shibboleth.
Right. She said the thing. We started talking, and then like now, if I'm at work and I have a credit card thought, I have somebody I can text and be like, hey, I have this credit card thought. And I can get sort of she is not in credit card YouTube, right? Like that is not the world she's living in, but I can get sort of a perspective on somebody who's plugged in, but not us, right? And that has been super helpful because she was pissed about the CSP change, like the CSR and the projected CSP changes. She was pissed. And like, I wasn't expecting that from somebody. I wasn't expecting sort of the annoyance at losing the 1.25 on that. And then she explained, like, for her, like the reason she has this card is for that. So when she has to book through the portal, she gets the boost, and like the way she was framing it sort of made me understand it more. So it is helpful to have some people sort of on the outside to go check the temperature in the room. But yeah, no, it's a different conversation sometimes with different people. Again, I'm not picking on anybody. I'm not saying anybody is doing it wrong. I'm just saying some people are going to have different conversations.
Yep.
This is a thing I have noticed because I have a lot of female friends as a woman, so my conversations tend to be very different than when I'm in the Discord.
Yeah. No, that definitely makes sense. Yeah.
I got asked if there's a card for mammograms because somebody had to pay out of pocket. I'm like, unfortunately, that is not a points boost. There is not a card for medical expenses.
Any card you open for a welcome offer, but yeah, that's not great. Hopefully it's a routine because I know the other ones, and the other ones are not awesome.
So the thing, I'm sure this is not the target demographic for this. But a lot of women who are now getting mammograms, like they're getting their first mammogram, have very dense breast tissue. The problem is mammograms are not very good at reading dense breast tissue, which means a lot more women are having to go for second opinions. Exactly. They have to go for the ultrasound. So they're now getting these secondary tests. A lot more women are doing the mammograms, which is great, but because of the dense breast tissue, they have to do the follow-ups. The follow-ups are not always covered by insurance. It depends on how the doctors code the first test. So some women are paying a decent amount of money out of pocket for follow-ups, but when your doctor says, hey, you need this ultrasound to make sure you don't have breast cancer, they're going to do it 10 out of 10 times, right? Like very, very few people will say no to that. So healthcare costs in that way for women are starting to go up.
Yeah. No, it is not great when you have to, at least if you're told that it's dense. Okay, so I used to work in radiology scheduling. So like I used to have to schedule these appointments. Ultrasound screening is so much preferable to diagnostic screening. If you ever have to do a recall or diagnostic or anything like that, it is a major pain in the ass. And hopefully, most of the time, I can't actually say this with any degree of certainty, but like a good percentage of the time, when you have to do the recall, it's just because of an error in the machine.
Yeah.
As long as that's the case, you're good. Going to Kirby's comment here, we've got a bunch of comments that have built up. Does the fancy status from JetBlue give you lounge access? No. So they're giving you 25 years of Mosaic 1. That is basic status with JetBlue. That is one step up from member. Mosaic 4 status will get you in the lounge, or holding the really awful $4.99 card will get you into the JetBlue lounge, which I'm really hoping they make agreements with like the United Club card to get you into the JetBlue lounge at some point. But we'll see what happens with Blue Sky. James got pre-approved for the Amex Gold for the 100K offer. You got
up to 100K because Amex is playing the up to game a lot lately.
That's going to be that is their Mo-December operandi now. But Reze, he guaranteed 75K, which 75K isn't too bad. 125K offer from gold to platinum. Bunch of stuff on JetBlue. I think Ian said he wished he could give me his JetBlue status. That'd be nice. Amex Platinum upgrade up to 100K. Kirby switched from my channel over to the SYP channel. Got to get those likes up. Yes, please. Please do that. J3 Carlos flies JetBlue all the time from with JFK and smaller airports. HPM, they're great. Yep. And my only problem with HPN is they have like 3 gates. I hate it. Shout out to Dr. Crane for help with the abbreviations reference. Yes, Dr. Crane was awesome with that. Don't like AA or Southwest either. Delta or United for me domestically, or Allegiant for pennies to Florida. Okay. Best one-line comic ever. Not sure who that is in regards to.
I think it was the first class comment.
Oh. Buffalo, JFK, Pitt, Boston, DCA, FLL, LaGuardia, Buffalo would be a hell of a weekend.
Yeah, but if you've got ambassador for IHD, there is a Boston Intercontinental. So
the problem is you have to go from where you are, Filmo, in New York State, and I know where you are, up to Buffalo. That's a pain. But if you want to do that, that's fine. City Strata is a good earning card. Do you mean Strata Premier? Because yes, Strata is. We'll see what happens. Nashville, nobody's hub. Southwest is most flights. Would you recommend a Southwest card at present? Robert J. Dr. Vinny Boombots also. He rocks a Southwest card from the same area. I don't think it's a bad call.
Nashville also has about a dozen flights to LaGuardia every day. So if you don't mind a layover at LaGuardia, you can go Delta. Because I fly to Nashville occasionally, and I go through LaGuardia. It's lovely. Beautiful Delta lounge.
Sorry, Dr. Vinny, but I know you're in that area, so apologies. Not care about credit cards. She knows how much we spend on groceries, yet I'm still in charge of the finances because she wants nothing to do with it. Well, that happens. Best way to start talking about people about welcome offers. I would say if they've gotten one card from your recommendations and they're interested in more.
Best earners is also relative, right? Like they are the quickest earners.
Yes.
QC Man giving you some money.
Thank you, QC Man, for the $1.99 super chat. Thank you very much for that. Pingasso used my Delta MX Blue business at Dick's Sporting Goods for my son's new bat prior to his Cooperstown tournament. At least I got 2x points. Yep. 6K in 6 months, very doable on food only. I mean, everyone's got to eat. Yup. Absolutely, especially with 2 kids. If the math works for me, I'm good to go. But if I can't make the sub in some of these business cards, they're tough for on my spend. Yeah, exactly.
I also have, I will never recommend a business card to a friend of mine. Like, unless they have a incredibly legit business that needs a credit card, I will not recommend a business card, because that is a slippery slope that credit card community has been okay with doing, but you do actually lose protections. It's not as simple as higher limits, higher spend.
Yeah. QC Man, once in a while, I have to explain that welcome offers is spending the money that you're already spending on the new card, not having to spend new money, $4,000 to $5,000. Those are fun conversations. Yeah, it's just kind of like, it's about changing their mindset, which is hard. Persuasion is hard. Like, convincing someone to do something different than what they're used to is hard. So if you're able to reframe it as like, how much money do you spend every month? Oh, I spend about like $1,200 every month on my credit cards, across all my credit cards. Okay, that $1,200 times 3 is $3,600. If there's an additional $400 out there based on like month to month spend, because $400 discretionary over 3 to 6 months, $400 is nothing. You could get these additional points, you could get this additional cash back. Like, it's just kind of changing the mindset a little bit. But again, that's hard. I think rephrasing things helps. I say $1,000 a month for 6 months, or even averages out to about $30 a day. Yeah, I can put $30 on a credit card easily. Rodrigo mentions that we can apply for the Sapphire Reserve, get the pop-up, cancel the application, and if Chase still ships us the CSR, we can cross our fingers Chase decides to give us the sub for inconvenience.
I would not recommend just doing that.
Yeah.
I declined my application and I got a hard pull. And they said no. And then I got a letter I was declined.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to say, if a Sapphire Reserve shows up at your house tomorrow morning.
If it shows up at my house tomorrow morning, I'm going to have a very interesting comment. But no, I canceled my application, and then they did a hard pull and sent me, you know how they'll send you that Chase has a new message for you in the secure message portal?
Yep.
And then I got a decline, and I'm like, but I pulled my application. You shouldn't have run my credit to begin with. But it seems like their pop-up jail system is not ready for a primetime player.
No. Coworker with CSR is going to drop it after the annual fee increase. Their household income is at least 250, and they meant the CSR. Yeah, no, that's fair. I'm still unsure of where I'm going to go with mine. I don't renew until April, so
Matt's gonna rock the green card.
I have a free green card. In an ecosystem I don't know what to do with, but I have a free green card.
Okay, but here's the thing. A free green card means nothing if you don't know what to do with the ecosystem.
I can always cash out the points and buy points wherever I need to use them.
Boring.
You hate the concept, but
I hate it so much.
Conversation is different. Definitely create my setup with the question of, can my missus figure this out? If no, I move on. If not, it's not worth stressing her out. Great observation, Kay.
Can figure out and want to figure out might be slightly different wording there, but like, yes.
Right path, maybe the wrong wording.
Yes.
Yeah.
I co-sign your intent in that comment.
As Dugraw's friend of the podcast, or like friend of my channel, I don't know, whatever. Dugraw says wife points are worth far more than credit card points.
Yes.
Yeah. Dugraw, shout out to Dugraw. Currently, I believe he's on his flight now out across the Atlantic for his flight to Manchester. He and I were talking a little bit earlier. Get the new Capital One lounge at JFK and another Priority Pass lounge at Terminal 4. Save some money in an account and then get the card with the welcome offer. Yep. Coworker income. Yeah. I find talking to people about credit cards can get weird quickly because of how personal finance is. Need to tread lightly. Yeah, I mean, you go off of the vibe that they're giving. Like, if they're kind of like closed up about it, don't jump into, hey, the Chase Inc. Business Unlimited is an awesome card at 1.5 times ultimate reward points for business spend. What do you mean business spend? I don't have a business. Yeah, but you could have like an idea of a business. Don't have that conversation.
It's also like we have all gotten comfortable, like podcasters, people in the community, of getting details that most normal people, quote, normal people, would not give to their parents or their priest, right? Like, we are forward with our finances, whether we give specific numbers or not, but we're forward with them because of the community we're in and because of the hobby we have. Like, the conversations I have with you all in the Discord, I'm not having those conversations with most of my friends, right? The things we say about our finances, we'll say, hey, do you spend $40,000 a year on this niche category? Like, that's not a question you're asking most of the people you know, right? Like, those conversations, our perception of how normal those conversations are, right? Like, don't ask somebody about how much they make, don't ask, somebody about their weight, don't ask somebody about, like, those things we throw out when you join this community. But most people, if I ask, hey, what kind of credit card should I get? I don't necessarily expect you to ask super invasive questions. I expect you to be like, oh yeah, go get this card. So you have to be careful when you're bringing up credit cards, like, hey, do you mind if I ask some financial questions? Sometimes starting there, and if they say, I don't really want to get into it, I just wanted a card to go look at, then just give them a card that you think is good. Like, if they do travel, like, the autograph card might not be bad. So, yeah. But make sure they know that you're going to ask some invasive questions, because some people get very, very, like, they think you're going to, like, even if you're friends, why are you asking how much I make? Like, in some workplaces, that is also, like, some coworkers will get, especially depending on if you have equal jobs and now they're worried that you're starting a union and they're going to Starbucks your ass, there's issues there.
Yeah. No, like, if it's one of your coworkers who's like at the same level as you, like, you have a rough idea of how much they make, but like that can certainly be a rough question. Easiest thing there, catch-all card.
Yeah.
Good catch-all card. Hey, how much do you travel? Like, do you want to use your card everywhere? No questions asked. Okay, cool. What's a catch-all card that I know of that has no foreign transaction fee? Fidelity, PNC. Can't really think of a third. Go from there. Yeah. Pingasso is working for welcome offers at once. Ooh. Luckily, I was able to work it through Natural Spend. It was still a chore. Not recommended. No.
I mean, I could do like 4 Wells Fargo at once, but
I mean, give me the Chase Freedoms. Like, give me 4 or 5 Chase Freedoms at one time.
Yeah.
I could do that, no problem. But like, yeah. Rodrigo, if it's not too personal, what line of work do you guys work in? Me personally, I work in healthcare. I oversee scheduling for various medical departments. I oversee certain medical departments. I used to work in scheduling myself. I used to schedule for radiology exams, so MRIs, CAT scans, PET scans, which is fun, nuclear medicine, mammography, X-ray, all of that. I used to schedule those appointments. That's how I know about the things like dense breast
breast tissue, which would 100% be the name of an episode if this was the regular podcast.
Yes. I know the difference between dense breast tissue and that being a screening exam versus recall and anything diagnostic. Recall and anything diagnostic is going to put your partner, your friend, your family member into a state of panic that is just be supportive.
Yes. I work in like insurance finance type stuff.
Notice more women on podcasts discussing credit cards than on YouTube, mostly wealthy women that are doctors, lawyers, accountants. Yeah, there's a couple of podcasts I've noticed that are like all women and talking about credit cards, which is cool. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not here to be like, oh, how dare they? It's more like that's interesting.
It tends to be a higher socioeconomic bracket. Typically, like the ones that I have seen, like your rich BFF has sort of taken off on like TikTok and stuff, and she has some really good stuff. Like she does Wall Street. She was on Wall Street, and her stuff is actually pretty great. But it tends to be people up there. It tends not to be sort of the middle class experience where more I am from.
Yeah. YouTube experiment 1X is okay for a welcome offer. Very true. Yep.
Like, because and also a lot of people are okay with 1X. Like, you have to. Sometimes you have. I'm not saying they should be. I'm saying you kind of have to explain to them why it's not enough.
Yeah.
Like, that is a conversation you have to have with people. That is not always a natural reaction.
Yes. Build card for the HSA FSAs. Yeah. The fact that they'll code everything with your HSA and FSA, solid. But it kind of depends on where you're using the HSA FSA, because I think everything that they do through Walgreens is like awesome. They handle everything, but like if you go to CVS, I don't know if they do everything as well through CVS. Didn't think I'd be hearing dense breast tissue on Credit Card YouTube Live, but this is informative. Yeah, dense breast tissue, not a thing to worry about. So this JetBlue promotion is the equivalent of getting 25 years of Delta Silver? Yes.
I would do, like, if I could do flights and afford it for 25 destinations, I would do this for Delta Silver. Like, why not?
YouTube experiment mentions Delta JetBlue's best card, I think, is their business card. I don't have any of their cards though. The business card is a nice sweet spot. The Plus gives you a lot of good things. It just doesn't give you Group A boarding that the business card does. The business card gives you the 5,000. Both give you the 5,000 points every year on your anniversary. Both give you a free check bag. Both give you a tile for $100 on JetBlue spend. A tile for every $1,000 in spend on the card. So they're pretty similar. The JetBlue Premier is just stupid. Dr. Vinny mentions that every Delta flight out of Nashville goes through Atlanta first. That's a terrible flight. That's like 15 seconds.
Yeah, but the flights going into Nashville sometimes come from LaGuardia.
Keith, most people who benefit from credit card rewards are better off financially, and people in debt tend to be poor. Not so surprised by the demographics of the female podcasters. Yeah, that's fair. A free green card? Yeah, the Wells Fargo autograph card.
It's sort of a free, if the green and gold had a baby, and it had a weaker ecosystem, it would be the autograph.
Yep. Instacart, Uber, YouTube creator, all businesses. Yep.
Okay, they are, and I'm not saying they're not. I'm not saying they're not. But also, I don't think encouraging people to get business cards without them seriously understanding. What is your Matt? You okay, Matt?
I'm looking at the comment from Source King.
Oh yeah, that is a fantastic comment. I think, again, if a business card works for them, it's great. They need to understand what the business card is, what they're giving up having it. Like, just telling people to go grab business cards. Again, I tell people who I know what they're doing to be careful. So like, there is caution needed.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. YouTube experiment or a real estate agent. ... We have friends in the real estate game, but yeah, or something to that effect. Anyway, Ian mentions if I told anyone how much I spend on gold in real life, how much I spend on gold, they might call the police or an insane asylum.
Why not both?
No further comment. I've always gotten lots of pushback from my dad's side of the family about credit cards. Then I gave them some of them points and certificates for trips. Now they want me to teach them credit card costs to them. Yeah. I mean, once people once people experience the joys of points and miles, where like, oh, no money came out of pocket for this particular trip, which isn't entirely true. Like a bunch of money came out of your pocket further in the past.
But it was money coming out for things not to do with travel. And I think that's why people feel like it's free, right? Because if I go to the grocery store 5 times and then I can, do a night at a Hilton, like I feel like I've just won something. Not me specifically, because I don't do grocery shopping, but like other people. Five kid trips to the grocery store is a night at a Hilton.
Yes. The drink is kicking it. Hey, Matt? No comment. Yes.
This is why we do the Thursday lives for you guys. Like this is all for y'all.
Exactly. I don't drink on the podcast. Dr. Vinny, yep. And Keith, same for me. Yep. Source King mentions, I used to be a bouncer at a strip club. A lot of breast tissue. Not sure if it was dense.
A fair bit was plastic, though.
Okay, a fair bit was silicone. A fair bit was dense. A fair bit was also natural.
Yeah.
I'm not going to break it down into percentages, but like, I enjoy.
I'm gonna cut you off at that point, Matt. Yes, it was free because it came out of your pocket. But I meant in general, Keith, not specifically for your family. Double also asked if Hilton and Delta hypothetically went to Chase, what would my credit card roadmap look like? I'd get the CSR as soon as I was eligible. Like I have to wait because I'm LOL over 24 at this moment. But I would probably just get the CSR because of the 4X on flights and hotels direct and portal if I wanted it. So yeah, I would probably go that route and just go there. I have a card I can change into a Chase Freedom Unlimited, and I have another card I can change into a Sapphire Preferred. So I'd probably rock with that. AP said. For Matt, well said, they're canceling all of your cards and you can't get more because reasons. What would you do?
My first reaction is to cry because I have the tune, I have the active cash, I have the autograph on the personal side. On the business side, I have the Signify cash. So I'm going to cry. I'm going to cry for at least a day.
They're also canceling your checking account because your primary checking account is with them.
Damn you for knowing that.
I do know that.
So I probably just deal with Chase. I don't have an interest-bearing checking account with with Wells Fargo, I would probably just set up an interest-bearing, a non-interest-bearing checking account with Chase. I go hard on
Lonnie
my.
would give you so much shit if you went to Chase for your banking.
Well, where the hell else am I going to go? Because, like, okay, I could set up a HISA with SoFi. I just opened a SoFi personal loan. So I've established a relationship with SoFi. Their credit cards are sort of interesting, but not really.
I have their checking and savings account. I quite like it so far. They're super fast, which is nice.
Maybe I go with SoFi for the checking account. But credit card wise, I would most likely just default over to Chase. I have a Capital One Quicksilver. I have a Capital One Saver card. The Saver card is not a bad card. I'm not here to besmirch the Saver card. The problem is the Saver card entertainment is cool. I don't spend enough in entertainment for it to be a really big category for me, right? I don't spend a significant amount of money in grocery that I can't copy elsewhere, right? So my grocery would default over to my Hilton Honors card. I would much rather get Hilton points than worry about 3% grocery on the Saver card. So I'd probably fall back to grocery would be my Hilton Honors, and everything else would kind of just fall over to my Chase card, to my Chase cards. I'm looking at 2x gas on the Chasing Cash that I have, which sucks. Like I wouldn't like that in any way, shape, or form. But like, how many other cards offer me 3x gas? 3x gas.
But
I would have to.
Is the 1x extra in gas over the course of 12 months going to net you more or less than 15,000 points?
Probably not. Like, it wouldn't make sense for me to open the business gold because that's 4 times gas. If gas is one of my top 2 performing categories, and I'd have to make sure that gas is one of my top 2 performing categories every month. So the in cash would probably default to be my gas card, which is fine. But right? So the in cash would probably become my gas card. The income limited would kind of be my catch-all card, which I would hate because it's 1.5. I've seen some interesting things about the Freedom Flex in coming months, but like whatever. And the Freedom Flex would become my gas card in times where gas is the 5% category. But I'm not going to hit 1,500 for the quarter. I'll come damn close to 1,500 in the quarter.
If you're not hitting 1,500 for the quarter, the difference between 2x and 3x is not going to make a difference for you over the course of a year.
Yeah. So there's that. I would probably just fall over to Chase, honestly, and let my Hilton Honors carry a shitload of spend.
I mean, Matt, you don't want the oh god, I had the card in my head and I have forgotten it. Never mind. I withdraw my comment. And I'm sober.
Yep.
I will give you one word of warning on the Fidelity CMA because I am in the middle of dealing with the Fidelity CMA. Every time I move money, either into, like, pull it to the account or push it to the account, I'm held for 10 days. I called today. They said some people are just held for 10 days. Some doesn't matter what you do. There's nothing on our end. Everything you do is going to be held for 10 days, basically forever. If I close this account and open a new one, is that going to change? Nope, won't do anything. I did try it just to see. Nope, didn't work. So Fidelity is great, but as they say, they're not a bank. They're a financial institution. So we should not expect from them what we would expect from a bank. That is what the representative told me verbatim today. So they're great, but they're not a bank. So just a word of caution that it for the like Space Code, they work. He gets the money super quick. It works great for him. I am not bashing Fidelity. I'm simply telling you the experience I have. I'm going to another bank for my backup and my emergency. I've pushed it into Fidelity and it takes 10 days. Like they, whatever. And he checked my account. There's no holds on it. There's nothing. SoFi has been great. I haven't had any of those problems. So it really is an interesting experience. So just something to know. Like, I am not bashing Fidelity. My 401k and my IRA are with them, and I'm keeping those there because those are perfectly fine. But for the CMA, I'm going to a different place for that.
Yeah. MX HISA and rewards checking. Yeah, that's another option I could look at. Wealthfront is good. I use Chase for local stuff. Yep, that makes sense. Robert J mentioned he's been a member on my channel for 8 months, but he mentioned looking forward to SYP memberships soon. Fidelity, we'll have to look into that. My 401ks are with Fidelity. Just be advised. The Saver is a cashback card. I could end up with 6x Hilton points if I ended up buying points. Yeah, as long as you hit that 0.5 cents purchase, you can do pretty well there. David Williams got the Wells 525 checking, 400. So 525 savings, 400 checking, and 825 business checking bonus in the last few months. That's awesome.
Nice.
QC Man says, mad at a strip club talking credit cards. No further comment. I haven't talked. You know what? Anything I say.
Leave that one there.
Yeah.
We're gonna leave that one there.
Yep. I made friends there. Thanks, QC Man. Hilton Surpass is getting some spend now to get that free night. Yeah, 15K gets you that free night certificate. Surpass is a really good card.
Surpass is a great card. Surpass might be the best of the 3 cards. For most people.
Daily card, yes. David William only pushed money into Fidelity, but you're right, it has had problems. Yup. Wealthfront has same day or next day for transfers, which is awesome. Andrea Beltran, first time in this live. Who's your friend? Her here. So this is RJ. She's my co-host on Stack Your Points. She is awesome. We are launching another podcast at some point in the near future.
We are. We're having a meeting about it next week.
Yes. So be prepared for that. That is not about credit cards. That is not about finance. That is going to be a whole other area of nerddom. And Keith, just so you know, your area of nerddom.
Yes, I am very excited for this project. I love Stack Your Points. That nothing is changing with Stack Your Points as far as like us doing it. We're not doing this other project, so we don't do Stack Your Points. But I'm very excited. I'm very excited for this project, and I'm sure we'll once it's more concrete, I'm sure we'll give more details. But for now, there is a project.
Yeah.
The only thing I don't like about Schwab and why I went to the Fidelity CMA in the first place is you have to sell your shares to be able to actually get the money out. So if it's on like a weekend and you have to wait for those shares to sell before you can do anything with the money, you're kind of screwed. Like that was why the Fidelity CMA was great. They auto sold for you. So none of these sort of things are going to be perfectly smooth because again, they're not banks, right? Like technically you're owning bonds, I think is technically what they are for the shares of the thing that you have, right? You're owning some form of stock, bonds, whatever. I'm sure if Spathco was here, he would be pulling his hair out, correcting me. But you're owning something, right? And you have to sell that to get your money out. Fidelity Auto sells it, Schwab doesn't. So on a weekend, if you want to move money out with Schwab, you're kind of screwed. But such is life.
Yeah. Fidelity started doing this about this from Ian. Started doing this about 9 months ago to combat gaming, since you can use their ACH pushes as direct deposits for bank bonuses. That's annoying. RJ, did you have another hard out? Do you have a hard out tonight, or is this live? This is live.
For this live. So he's asking if I'm leaving at any certain point. And no, I don't have any plans after this.
No, it's 10:15. We can keep going. Andrea asks, RJ, do you have your own channel?
So funny story about that is I did. I was going to sunset the channel anyway, and then I accidentally deleted the channel because I deleted the email trying to move the channel back to its own email. And between Stack Your Points of this new project and like my life in general, I just don't have time. Matt's videos are very different than the Stack Your Points podcast, right? Like his new stuff, all of the speculation stations he does where he does his deep dives, very different. Mine were basically topics. Like we'll get to a question on like how Stack Your Points came to be in a little bit. But my videos were basically topics. So me doing another topic a week, just my brain. So how this podcast happens is we record Monday night till about 3 a.m. Eastern by the time Matt and I get off the stream. Tuesday, I edit the whole thing. So that can take anywhere between 2 and 4 hours. And I do not like exaggerate when I say that there are times that it takes 4 hours to edit the show. Matt edits if I am not available. So he has been there and done that. It takes a large amount of my Tuesday night. Wednesday, I recover and potentially record a new podcast now. Thursday, I do this live. Friday, I lay in bed and look into the abyss. So time to record my own content, which is basically another topic, when I much rather take that topic and put it on the podcast and get Lonnie's thoughts and Matt's thoughts and Craig's thoughts or Tariq's thoughts, or put it on the live and get all of your thoughts in real time, becomes just, for me, I don't have enough brain power. Like I like hearing myself talk. Obviously I podcast, so you get used to it real fast. But I rather hear myself talk and then hear their responses to me and go back and forth and have those debates. So for me, that's why the channel is not coming back. It wasn't purposely deleted, but it is what it is.
No, but like your content was your perspective on things was also super interesting, but like we can bring that content into Stack Your Points, Stack Your Live, members only content when members only thing.
Because when we do members only, there are a couple of things that I will be doing there that may have gone on my own channel, but it makes more sense to put them as member only content because it's giving you guys more value and it gives me a way to do it in a way that is more satisfying to me. So yeah, it works out. But find me at Stack Your Points, stackyourpoints.com.
Yep. StackYourPoints.com, good place to find our Discord, good place to drop questions for the Stack Your Points recording that we do every every Monday. We do this on Monday nights at 11 p.m. We can definitely answer questions through that and just catch up on the podcast from there because all of our videos go up on there once they're published.
We will. There will be so many nerdy things that I will force Matt and Agent X to participate. Agent 31? Is that the
I was gonna go with Admiral Nechayev, but like also not good for the misgendering of the name Nechayev. So like Admiral, there was no good male admirals in Star Trek. They were really bad.
The Traveler? Can we do the Traveler for him?
I'll go with the Traveler for the third co-host, who will be a co-host from time to time just because life is lifing for them as well. Being in your 20s sucks right now.
Yes, it does. I'm in my 30s and sometimes it sucks right now.
Yeah. For Tariq and for the Traveler, we'll refer to him as the Traveler. Maybe he would prefer Kaio Kampa, maybe?
Q.
I don't know. Q. Would you like Q? Cisco punches the shit out of Q in DS9.
He does.
He's a good DS9. You know what? Garrick. Okay. We'll refer to our third host as Garrick. I think he'll appreciate it. He's been in the chat tonight. If you're still here, let us know if Garrick works because Garrick is a man of mystery. but we were going to refer to him as like the evil admiral from time to time. Garrick, I think it works far better.
I think that is an effective use of that character. Yes.
Yes. No, we're super excited for the new project. Keith says projects are fun. Nerd out. Source King says you own money markets. Yep, that's true. GB kind of gets to our end game here. Star Your Trek podcast.
That is not the name, but that is very fun. We did toss around a couple ideas. The problem is using Trek themed names is potentially a problem with copyright. So we had to go with something. I really like the name of it, but we could not go with like, Dancing on the Cerritos or something. Like we had to go with something a little more.
We originally had the Cerritos Lounge, which I really loved, and I wanted to do the Cerritos Lounge, but
that probably will end up as a segment, though.
Probably. The lost RJ files for your Stack Your Points members, maybe.
I might have some of those videos. Yeah. I was about to do a Wells Fargo video too. Now, you've seen what the video was going to be. It was the ranking. Tell me, people, would you like to hear my ranking of the Wells credit card videos live on the Stack Your Points? Because I have the outline for my video. Matt saw the outline and tacitly gave his blessing to my positioning of the cards, which I'm sure he does not remember at the moment.
Nope, sure don't. I just know that Signify and Active Cash are kind of going to be on the same.
How did we go from strip clubs to Star Trek? Look, this is a multifaceted podcast and live. And we're able to get to different places.
One of those things is my past. One of those things is the other one is I want to say my always, but like I'm very far behind on Star Trek. So like the podcast is going to get me back up to speed on Lower Decks and many others.
And spoiler alert: Lower Decks. Like Lower Decks is one of probably my top 3 favorite Star Trek. Like I adore Lower Decks. So yes. Double is telling me to do the ranking. So hold on, let me find it. I gotta see if I still have. I do have it.
AP tells us to go back to casinos with blackjacks and hookers. We haven't discussed this, but like once we run out of Trek lore or like Trek canon, I feel like
but Matt, it's going to take us about 15 years to get through Trek canon, so we might have to like do. Because here's the thing: the theme of the episode, or I'm sorry, the podcast title could also apply to Futurama.
Yes, I was going to say once we're sort of done, we don't have to do the movies. The movies are a whole separate.
No,
beast.
But we could do. We could do Lower Decks and then do Futurama and then do like TNG or something. Like that is not an impossibility.
We'll discuss it.
Okay. Okay. So here's my ranking of the Wells Fargo cards. You want me to start at the bottom or the top, Matt?
Let's go from the bottom. Yeah.
So F, I didn't put anybody at F. Oh, I'm in the attic. I just have a background behind me. E, Dumpster was the built card. Which, the bottom one was Dumpster on Fire. And then it was Dumpster, which is the built card. And then it's Fine, I guess, which I didn't put any. Good was the Signify, the 1 key, and the Active Cash. Like, look, there's a billion 2X cards. Just pick the card that fits the ecosystem you want. It's fine. Situationally good, I had the Reflect, the Choice Privileges, and the 1 key plus. Reflect, if you need a card like that, the Reflect is going to be the only card in that lineup that is going to give you what that gives you, which is why I said situationally good. 1 key plus is not a bad card, and then Choice Privileges is not a bad card. Great, I did the Choice Privileges Select, the Autograph Journey. I do think the Journey is great. I think $95, I get why they had to put an annual fee there. I think it's a great card. And then Fantastic for S tier is the Autograph and the Attune. I think those are the 2 best cards that Wells Fargo makes.
The current Wells Fargo cards, that makes
Yes, the cards that are not zombies, those cards.
No, I can't really argue with that. Like the reflect, the only challenger to the reflect is the City Diamond preferred card, which okay, they're both 21-month balance.
The shield, the US Bank shield is 24.
The US Bank shield is 24 months also, and gives you 4% cash back in their travel portal, which is hilarious. But no, the reflect card is the reflect card 5% balance transfers, though, if I remember correctly. Yeah, but
if you need
21
months to pay something off, sometimes it's worth taking that 5% hit.
Yeah. Keith says he's still sticking with the Wrath of Clausen. I mean,
that's going to be an episode title, I assure you.
Almost certainly. US Bank Shield, 24 months. Yeah, I think that also has the same 5% for the 24 months, because they do have to make a little bit of money.
Yeah.
GB, I have a side question as a newbie in the credit card world. If you were to hit reset to the beginning, starting with no credit, what would be your first 2 or 3 credit cards you go after in order?
Surpass.
If I mix as well, you can do Surpass.
No, actually, hold on. Surpass, IHG,
the Traveler,
Autograph, the Premier.
The Premier. Okay.
Yeah. If I was just getting 3 cards, because here's the thing: if I get 1 Delta Reserve, I need the other one to hit silver. So I'm not going to just get 1, and I'm not taking 2. They're also because Hilton's covered, IHG is covered, and the Autograph gives me 3x travel, so I can do flights. And I would probably just cash out the points.
If I was to start over, no credit history. Oh God.
To answer your question, double while Matt is thinking, I was ranking Built as all of it. Like, you can't divorce the card from the program, because if you don't interact with the program, then what is the benefit of the card?
Yeah. And the fact that their customer service is so trash.
They pulled my credit twice, and I could not get a person on the phone to actually, no, they pulled it 3 times, and I could not get a person on the phone to talk about it, because they don't really have on phone customer service. And the Wells Fargo person that I was told to call had no idea what I was talking about.
Yeah. Built is a 3-pronged problem. The card is okay. The program is fantastic. The company is just terrible. Okay, so if I was to start over, 2 or 3 credit cards I'd go after in order. Here's the thing. I am stuck in a I have to get a Chase card. This is the annoying thing.
Tell me why you have to have a Chase card.
That is Chase cards. Why do I have to get a Chase card? Because I like the idea of Hyatt.
But you never stay at Hyatt's.
I stay at a fair number of Hyatts, actually.
Okay, and how many of those are on points?
About 60%.
Okay, that's more than I thought, because you don't. Yeah. Of all the things you talk about, you never talk about Hyatt.
No, I secretly will move over just enough for a night.
Okay.
No. I do like Hyatt stays. Hilton's make significantly more sense. Okay. American Express doesn't particularly care about your credit history as long as you're not a significant risk. So if I'm not a significant risk, any credit card establishes that I'm not a significant risk. So my first credit card does not matter. It could be the Chase Freedom Rise.
Okay, but if we're Matt, sweetie, that is not the spirit of the question.
No, it's certainly not the spirit of the question. That's the problem that I'm struggling with. newbie in the credit card world, I would attempt to apply for the Hilton Honors card, assuming American Express will accept me. If American Express will not accept me, I would go after the Freedom Rise. I would go after.
Oh my God, the Apple Card! I forgot about that. I take back what I said. The Apple Card, the Surpass, and then something else. But
the Apple Card
would be one.
The Hilton Honors, and I'd probably go after a stupid Capital One card for good credit, whether it's the Saver for good credit or the Quicksilver for good credit. Just to start establishing my credit. But once I've got my credit established, I would go to other issuers super quick.
I'm out of Capital One, and I didn't think it would change much. I am so happy to not have to deal with Capital One. And I didn't have any problems with Capital One. I'm just very happy.
Yup. Mr. Potato, Discover has some 18-month balance transfers for 3%. Yeah, no, the 18-month balance transfers for 3%, those are solid deals. Like, I will not begrudge those. If you have to open a balance transfer for whatever reason, 18 months for 3% fee, perfect. I happen to have cards that offer me 18 months or 12 to 15 months just for the card that I currently hold, just so that they can get a fee out of me. But 18 months for 3%, fantastic. Andrea mentions the Attune is the most underrated card in the entire credit card game. Yup.
I've suggested a lot of those for female friends.
Especially if you're not going to play games with Amazon. Like, folks who I've noticed who don't get the full 4% at Amazon are trying to buy Amazon gift cards or buy gift cards through Amazon using their Attune card. Maybe don't do that. But 4% at Amazon, 4% at Barnes & Noble, if you're a big book person, which more people should read books, 4% at StubHub, 4% at Ticket Bastard, 4% at SeatGeek, 4% at just buying directly at whatever place you happen to be buying tickets from, 4% at Dick's Sporting Goods, 4% at your local Restore. It's got a lot of 4% categories. It's an awesome card, and you can move that 4% over to the autograph with no problem. Personally started with the Freedom Prize. It's a good card.
Also, if I just had a thought and it went away again. It's been a long week, guys. It's been a long one.
If people were saying that I was being dramatic about Built this time last year, maybe
I don't
last
think you were
year it's gotten worse.
I don't think you were being dramatic, Keith.
Yeah.
I didn't know you at this point last year, but I don't think you were being dramatic.
Yeah. Source King, Aeroplan, Hyatt, Marriott, Boundless. Yeah, if Chase is willing to accept you for that, yep. If Matt could start over, he'd obviously get 5 Wells Fargo cards. I've collected my Wells Fargo cards over time. It's fine. But yes, if I were to start over, I would try to start with Wells Fargo pretty quickly.
It's not a bad combo. Though, I feel like if you're going to go with a rotational category card, I would probably go Flex over Discover It, but Discover it can sometimes be a weird network.
Yeah. I liked it better when they just presented their full year to you. Discover used to give you the full year of what Q1, Q2, etc. showed you, and then Chase would follow up afterwards, and then Chase started doing we won't tell you our quarterly categories until the 15th of the month, which is stupid. Autograph Journey and Blue Business Plus is all you need.
Depends on your partners. It depends. For me, as much as I want the autograph card. I want that card, but it does nothing for me.
Okay, if you could book through your airport with Flying Blue points, the autograph journey would do significantly better for you.
Yes, I would if I could do it that way. Yeah, but every flight I have ever looked on that I am interested in, I cannot get that way.
Yep. No, or Virgin, but like same thing.
It's the same thing, yeah.
Yeah.
That's being in a regional airport does have some changes to my strategy. As we showed Tariq one night when we nearly broke him.
Yes. Jeremy Cahill, if you love the Attune, I want to know how much you spend on massage parlors. Significantly less than Justin Tucker and Deshaun wants it.
Hey, Double Double has a question that I think we're just going to move on from that topic. I think Double Double has a question you can answer, Matt.
Sure. Also, if you're a big dog, yes, Andrea, if you're a big dog person, 4% on your pet supplies stores as well. Is this the question?
Yes.
Question? Random Cube,
yes.
do you get loyalty points through the edit? Yes, as long as the hotel in question presents itself as this loyalty program eligible. So if you're in the edit on Chase, you go into chase.com/travel, or you go into the benefits section on the app and you pull up the travel section and it pulls up the edit. As long as it says Marriott Bonvoy eligible or Hilton Honors eligible or World of Hyatt eligible, etc., you will, if you put your loyalty number in before you finish the booking, you will get the loyalty points for that particular property.
But you have to be careful because if it doesn't say that, you're not getting any. Yes.
Or if you're booking the Four Seasons, because the Four Seasons does not believe in.
Look, if you're booking the Four Seasons, loyalty points are not your game, man.
Yeah. If I can only have 4 cards, it would be the Venture X, Saber, Attune, and Autograph. Game over. I'm happy. That's a really strong four cards.
If those partners work for you, that's incredibly strong. That would hurt me. Like if you gave me those 4 cards and said I can only have these 4 cards, I would have to do so much cash back to make that work that I would be sad.
But you're guaranteeing the 1 cent per point. Well, not the Venture X points, but
like that's my problem is for me, the way I travel and the way I do things.
Yeah.
Doesn't help me. It just that's the magic of credit cards is somebody's perfect happy ending is somebody else's potential nightmare. And yes, I use those words on purpose.
Swap the Venture X for the active cash and you're just cashing out for 1 cent per point on the Saver for grocery and entertainment. Although the Attune does entertainment too. And Wells Fargo picked up Air Canada. You could do a lot of damage on United with that setup. A lot of damage.
If Air Canada works for your airport.
Yeah. For United, obviously.
Yes.
QC Man, 8X through the edit has been confirmed. So Chase says it works now. Chase told me it didn't work when I called before the official rollover to the card. Man, I don't know.
We did get another Keith question, which I want to see if you remember this, because I'm interested. Yes.
So good. Yep.
Yes. What is the origin story of Stack Your Points? How did it start and whose idea was it? Do you remember this, Matt? Especially after half a bottle of adult beverage?
Half a bottle. More like 2/3 of a bottle.
Okay, 2/3 of a bottle of an adult beverage?
Maybe 3/4. So Stack Your Points was born out of the voice chat in another Discord.
Mm-hmm.
And it would eventually just be like Lonnie, RJ, myself, and Tariq. I want to say it was you and Tariq who thought of the idea of extending the conversations that the 4 of us were having into a more regulated type situation. I know the idea was either you or it was primarily, I want to say it was primarily you, because you pitched to me after like conversations with Tariq on the side.
So, okay. I'll pick up from there.
Yeah.
So I come from a sports podcast background. I covered women's sports we'll call it semi-pro for almost a decade. So I was podcasting during then, right? Like, so these are not my first podcast rodeos. And one thing I noticed in the credit card community when I sort of came into it was there's not a ton of podcasts. There's a lot of creators, but there's not a lot of podcasts. Matt, are you going to be okay?
Yes.
Okay. And I just wanted more like deep conversations because, like Matt said, Tariq, Lonnie, him, and myself, John R. was in there a lot. We were having a lot of conversations about credit cards, but like there was no place for those to go, right? Like if you weren't in the chat, you were going to miss that conversation. So originally, I'm gonna say it, I came up with the idea. And I went to Tariq and I'm like, what do you think of this idea? Because like I'm one of those people that sees I see every opportunity as a podcast idea, a potential podcast idea, just because I've been doing them for so long. So I went to Tariq, asked him what he thought. He liked the idea. We pitched it to Matt first because we figured if we could get 3 people to do it, at least we would be in a position that something could happen, right? Like 2 people, it can be difficult depending on the topic. Something like credit cards, you kind of need more robust conversation. And then once we had Matt tacitly on board, we went to Lonnie, got him on board, which was incredible because I expected him to laugh just because of how busy he is and how just incredible his stuff is. Kind of expected Matt to laugh too. But it worked out. And then I think it was from when the idea was pitched to our first episode was less than a month. It happened pretty quickly. From what I remember, it was a pretty fast turnover. And then July 2nd, our first episode dropped, which will also be the day that our episode this year will drop because we switched from posting Tuesdays to posting Wednesdays for our first show. So it'll be out on the anniversary, which is very cool. But yeah, it was originally like I had the idea and I was like, I don't know if this is going to work. I don't know if they want to do this because like we'd go in there and I remember it. Lonnie told a black card joke and the 4 of us just died laughing. And I remember thinking at that moment, there is something here. Like, because we were having a super deep conversation and then he turned that joke on and we just died and then we, went back into it. And it was just this very nice sort of chemistry and it has turned into something pretty awesome. So that is how Stack Your Points came to be. We were originally going to be Make Your Point or Make Your Points. But that was taken as a Gmail address. Wasn't a podcast, but it was taken as a Gmail address. So we came up with different ideas. We came up with different ideas for what to put at the beginning of the sentence and stack your points. I don't even remember who came up with the stack part, but I think we just Googled synonyms. And so we were like, yeah, is this taken? And I literally went to Google. Nope, not taken. Cool. This is our name now.
I want to say it was me just based off of Lonnie's point stacking philosophy going like what he had.
It very well might have been.
Channel. And like, check out Lonnie's channel. Call me Lonnie. Obviously, like his stuff is fantastic. He is the original point stacker, and like Stack Your Points just sounded like an awesome way to like convey different attitudes in the credit card world, because there are different ways you can go about point stacks with Mileage Plus X, which Lonnie would use primarily, Shop to Chase, which has been used. Rakuten Plus membership reward point earning cards is another fantastic stack. Rob Thomas, somebody school.
Yeah, I put him in timeout.
Okay, got it.
But yeah, no, but that's how Stack Your Points was born, out of 4 people having conversations on credit cards and going, maybe other people like this. We didn't know, like we had no idea if 5 people would listen or 50 or 100 or whatever.
No.
So we didn't know, because there really aren't a ton. There are a lot of YouTube channels, but there's not a lot of long form deep conversation or conversation where multiple people. There are a couple. There are some good ones, but
yeah,
everybody's got the 4 of us and Craig coming in as well. Like, we all have very different backgrounds, very different philosophies. Like, Lonnie and I are both more tied to our partners, but we have very different ways of going about things. I use a lot more cash and use more target strikes on the points I have. So it's been great. We've done a lot of really cool stuff, and Matt and I have had a lot of West Wing conversations at 2 a.m. And the more I talk to Matt, the more I think he is the secret child of Toby Ziegler.
I don't know. I've always thought of myself as a 50-50 mix of Toby and Josh, but maybe I'm not the political mind that Josh is.
You have a little bit of Joey Lucas in you as well.
I will not do a Joey Lucas voice, but I can. That's fair. Will it be Joey Lucas through Kenny?
I feel like the sarcastic comments that only she can get away with saying, you often will fall into that vein.
Also, Joey Lucas, Quaker. I was raised in a Quaker environment.
Yes. But Joey Lucas is, I think, one of the if you sort of go to tertiary characters where I would put her, like, one of my absolute favorites.
Oh, Joey Lucas is fantastic. Josh and Joey would have not worked.
Oh God, no. The only person on that show that could put up with Josh long term literally is Donna Moss. Like, everybody else would bludgeon him to death.
Hard disagree.
I didn't like Mary Louise Parker's character very much.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
And here's the thing, like, I like her and other stuff. That character just was not for me.
It was the competitiveness between the two of them.
See, to me, that read more like siblings than it did romantic, but
that's fair. That's fair. That was, I think I let too much of my personal life in. Yeah. No comment.
I respect it, but I think long term, like, the thing with competitiveness, like, here's a couple that was competitive that I truly enjoy, and we didn't get as much because CSI Miami happened, was Sam Seaborn and Ainsley Hayes. Like, that was a competitive relationship that I quite enjoyed watching. Also, Sorkin giving us Republicans that are, in that vein was refreshing.
Yeah. Double asks, which pod topics or questions have been your favorite? I'm biased, but my question about y'all switching places was mine because Tariq literally lost his mind.
I think that was your first question into the pod too, Double.
Yes.
That I like the ones that aren't about, like, my favorite topics are the ones that have nothing to do with actually accruing or spending points necessarily. Like, they're the more philosophical ones. They're the ones that sort of cut through, like, I was talking, sociology this morning, right? Like, those are the questions I like, the ones that are more universal to people and how sort of interactions happen and how we, use this to build community. Those are my favorite topics. Like, the ones that are like, if I'm in this airport and want to get here, what's the best use of points? Like, that's something I can do and I do for myself, but those are probably not what I would consider my strong suit. Like, Lonnie can do those. Like, if you give him 2 United hubs and tell him how to get from point A, he probably could tell you the flight numbers. Like, he just has that stuff, right? And Matt, if it's a piece of credit card trivia, and one day we will do Stump Matt, He's got that. So like we each have our thing, right? That we have, and for me, it's the history and the philosophy and that sort of thing.
Right now, Stump Matt would be super easy.
It would, but that's I would try you at least one drink into the evening, like not 7.
Fair. Also, Jason dropped in the Discord that he is watching us on the TV at the Candlewood Suites, where he is located currently. So that is fantastic.
I do appreciate photos of Stack Your Points live or the podcast on television. I don't know what it is about it. One day I'm gonna have a contest. Once we have memberships and merch, I'm telling you guys this now, there will be a contest for the funniest place you have watched Stack Your Points. Whether it's on a phone and you're at like the top of Machu Picchu or something. Like, I don't care, like go wild. Like, there will be a contest and the winner will get some free merch. Or most creative place, I don't care. If somebody wants to go to the International Space Station and watch us there, like they'll probably win. But like we'll have some contests like that once we get to 500.
Absolutely. The Ladder Man himself says that it's been a hell of a day. Noticing from what you mentioned in the Stack Your Points Discord, which stackyourpoints.com, check out the Discord. Yeah, I'm sorry, Jason, but at least you have lodging set up for the evening.
At lodging. He's got a TV with internet access to watch us.
Yes, he does. RJ, what other questions do we have from the Discord?
Let's see. What is the Robinhood Gold card a viable option for a 1-card setup for a player 2 who's not interested in credit cards at all? I am not touching Robinhood with a 10-foot pole and somebody else's bank account. That is my personal feeling. Is it biased? Sure, but I don't trust Robinhood to do anything. Mr. X1, what are your thoughts?
I'm not ready to jump into the Robinhood Gold credit card. I'm not ready to jump into Robinhood Gold as a program. I have a Robinhood account. I have trades that happen on a daily basis on my Robinhood account. I don't necessarily trust Robinhood Gold going forward. For now, it's a good enough program. They have set up enough guardrails for their 3% cashback and like they have communicated, unlike some other programs, they have communicated what's going to earn 3% and what's not. So that is fine. It is not a program I'm particularly interested in. I like that you can at least cash out to like your Robinhood account and then move that into whatever checking account you have. That's fine. If Robinhood is for you, great. If you're wary, I would stay away. I don't know how sustainable this card is long term. So I'm not going to jump on it. I like the 5% through their portal, but
I think if somebody's wary of credit cards, I don't know if Robinhood Gold is the place to start them.
Yeah, because you got to pay $50 a year for Robinhood Gold, and like you go through the offers that Robinhood Gold gives you. You have to be willing to move your 401k or 403b or IRA into Robinhood Gold, and once you move it over there, it's a 5-year hold to keep the 1% match. It's not awesome. I think if you're willing to go through the hoops, it's fine. I don't think you should go through the hoops if you don't have to.
Yeah, I agree. Last question from the Discord, and then we can grab some from the chats. Do the recent expanded changes with the premium transferable currency cards, higher fees, more coupons pushing you to portals change the relative value you place on co-branded cards? I think I said it, I think this week for Lonnie's question. I think co-branded cards are going to become more important. I think that's where I think people in the game are going to be pushed more to co-brands. I think people just in the game or not really in the game, but who like the marketing are going to stay with the premium cards. Like there's always going to be a market for the platinum. There's always going to be a market for like a CSR. But I think co-brands are going to become more important if you have partners. I have strong partners. I know what my partners are. When I say there's nothing I can do with Wells Fargo, I'm not saying that because I don't like Wells Fargo. I'm saying it because my partners are so strong and I am so deeply committed to my partners. I am in a long-term relationship with my partners that for me, Wells Fargo is not doing anything. So for me, I think co-brands are going to become more important. My Delta cards, my Hilton card, my HG card, my Choice card, never a Marriott card, but for me, I hate Marriott only second to Citi. So, yeah, but I think they're going to become more important.
Yeah,
Citi made my grandmother cry. Once you make my grandmother cry, you're dead to me.
No, and that's entirely fair. Like I'm not here to defend Citi.
Oh, that's it. That's it. That's for the new people.
Yeah.
So I wanted to give them context.
That's fair. I don't like Marriott just because like the only use case for Marriott points has become airline transfers, and it's 3-1. So you got to build up a pile of Marriott points to move over to the airline of your choice. I would say I don't know that portals are going to become more expensive or more prioritized, especially for me. Like I talk about the edit a lot. Like I like the concept of the edit, but like the cash price, if I'm not going to Vegas, is really high. So I don't know that it's going to work for me specifically. If I can make things work with my travel credit and my edit credit and points, maybe. But I'm doing a lot of banking that I can get $550 off to start, and then I have the points available to do that, and then do everything else I want to do with my Chase points, which is a tall ask.
Right. So
I do think co-branded cards, especially something like the Hilton Aspire or the Marriott Bonvoy Brilliant, like Bonvoy, we both don't like Bonvoy necessarily, but the Bonvoy Brilliant card with its 85K sub is pretty solid, especially if you can also get like a 185, 155 or above welcome offer on it. Like you can top up to 100K, no problem, multiple times over, and that pays off your card like that, especially with the restaurant credit or the dining credit. So
Marriott's also super strong if you have a lot of work travel. Like a lot of the people I know who are big into Marriott have work travel because they can then move those Marriott points to airlines. Like Lonnie does some of that. Kid does some. Like the people who do a lot of work travel, I seem to notice. I mean, Marriott's everywhere, right? So that helps. But that tends to be a move of the work traveler.
Yeah. So the move to co-brands can definitely make a lot of sense for more people, especially if the platinum refresh is like, oh, you can get 8 times points in the portal, but you got to go through the portal. Yeah, but how much do I get booking direct? Oh, 5 times booking direct through airlines only. So I can get 8 times in the portal for hotels if I prepay for the hotel, but 1x if I pay directly with my platinum card. That's painful.
5x, not 8x on the platinum.
Hotel direct.
Hotel direct would be 1x. Hotel through the portal with the platinum is 5. 8x is the edit with, or 8x is the CSR. Right.
If I'm saying if the refresh pushes up to 8.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I was thinking you were going CSR and platinum in there, and I was
not. But fair because of current stuff. So if they're going to re-emphasize the portal and you can get status through the portal, great. Right? Like that would be fine. If they're not going to emphasize status through the portal with the exception of FHR, what's the point? Becomes my question. Like book direct. You're going to get
Yeah.
far more value booking direct.
And Booking Direct has, I mean, Spaceco and I were talking about it today, but like Booking Direct has benefits. Like,
Yeah.
yes, if you go through a travel agent or you go through a back-end portal through like travel agent and stuff, it can also give you the same control or similar control, but like booking through a portal is not risk-free, right?
Yeah.
Like I go through Delta, but I go through Delta in places where I can go through Delta, and if they bite me, I have other options. So I think humans like to play games. Like I think it can boil down into that. Like this is a little bit like collecting Pokemon cards in some aspects, right? Like gotta catch them all. We like
Especially the
to,
min-max side.
yeah, we like to get the feeling that we're going to win against something bigger than ourselves. Like people talk about beating the banks all the time, and like they're not doing it like they're doing it because they want to feel like the little guy won or they got one over on a bank. Like all of these psychological tricks, like people also like the feeling of quote getting something for free. And like we talk about it being not free travel but discounted travel, but for a lot of people it feels free. Like if it takes you 3 years to earn enough points to go on a vacation, you're not thinking about the burrito you bought 3 years ago, right? Like,
Yeah.
and maybe it's a PTO, maybe it's not even like how much you spend. It's a PTO issue or a life issue or a my kid plays travel ball, so I don't have time to actually go on a real vacation. We're going to, baseball games every weekend in the summer. I know some people like that, right? They haven't gone like they've gone to Long Island every weekend for, a year and a half because that's where their kid plays baseball. It's not quite that much, but it's a lot. But they got a crap ton of points, but they can't use them because the kids got baseball and they use all their PTO to take the, Fridays and Mondays to, be able to do that for the kids. So some of this it does feel like free for them when they actually get to go on vacation and blow 500,000 points.
Yeah. Core human aspect that attracts us to the credit card guy game. Part of it is the min-max part side of things. Like, oh, it's a $200 FHR credit for a night. How low under $200 can I get? And I still got my $100 property credit, and I get this through whatever hotel chain I happen to want to get this through because they reflect Hyatt, they reflect Hilton, they reflect Marriott, IHG, whoever else, because it's FHR. Yeah, that's awesome. But I do think a lot of it comes down to trying to game the system and trying to get the dopamine hit of feeling like you got one over on the banks.
Yeah.
You may not have because you're booking $1,000 a night hotel with a $200 credit, and maybe you're using your points at 1 cent per point through the Amex portal, or maybe you're getting the 2 cent per point through the edit if you're booking through the edit. But like, how much did you really get over on the bank? Because at 2 cents per point, $1,000 minus $250, at $750, that is what?
25,000?
37,500.
Yeah.
You're still out 37,500 points in the edit if it qualifies for 2 cents per point using points boost, whereas it was a higher number with the 1.5 floor. So like, I do think there's a certain level of like cognitive dissonance that happens when you think that you're getting one over on the bank. At the end of the day, like, the house tends to win.
It's also why one of the things that I de-emphasize in my own travel and stuff when I talk on the podcast specifically is points. Like, I pay cash for a lot, but the cards I have give me the perks I want because perks tend not to be malleable in the same way points value are. Like, for me, I care much more about like Delta Silver than I care about, 1.1 cent per point versus 1.3 cent per point versus whatever. So for me, that's why I de-emphasize that, is because there are alternative paths out there. So yeah.
And Andrew's follow-up was, why does it seem like there are so few girls in the game? I mean, there's RJ, there's GeoBreeze, there's a couple of female-hosted podcasts, Carolyn from the Frequent Miler podcast. There's Key, yep.
I mean, here's the thing. Women, and I can only speak for myself, and I've been in a lot of male-dominated hobbies, because that's just a thing. Women tend not to go into spaces for things like YouTube that feel male dominated, typically, right? That's why when like there are some women on TikTok who cover sports, right? But they're like sports for the girls, right? Like that's how they pitch it, to try to bring more women in sports, which I think is fantastic. Like as a sports fan, I think that is great. But they're pitching it in a specific way. And some of them are really, really good. But they're pitching it in a specific way because it is a sports media in general is male dominated. Credit cards in general, personal finance is seen as a man's game. And most women, especially younger women who want to start doing YouTube videos, are not just going to step into a space that is perceived as male. Like, because it's not welcoming. Like, I've gotten a ton of comments on my looks, like DMs and stuff on my looks, on like different things like that. Like, and I, at this point of doing a decade of podcasts, like, it doesn't super bother me at this point. Like, I look at myself in the mirror every day. I am aware of the general visage of my body, right? So, like, is it great? No, but like, I'm fine. Like, I am not, a 23-year-old who, like, when I started podcasting, right? Like, I am not somebody who is self-doubting in that way. But it's hard. It's difficult to be in a space, like, it is also difficult to talk about, quote, women's issues in a space like the way that men talk about their, quote, player too. Like, I hate that term, the way that it tends to be used, but you have to adapt sometimes to the language of it. And men in general when I say, oh, what does your partner like I've had men in DMs when I'm talking to them say, I'm not gay, don't use partner, like, it's my player too. So, like, these are things that will turn a lot of women off to entering a space, right? Like, I am not, like, Spaithco and I go at it at least twice a week of just like different topics, and Spaithco and I are perfectly fine. So we're fine. But, and I do that with a lot of people. Like, to me, it's not a problem. To a lot of women, that is not what they're looking for in a hobby. Like, even if they like personal finance, even if they like credit cards, like, there is some combativeness in finance. It is seen as a male space. I wish there were more women, because I think the conversations I have with women are very interesting and very different than, like I was saying, the comments I have with men in finance. But I think the problem is that it is intimidating, especially if you don't like, I had a background in sports media to where I was used to being the only woman in the room or in the conversation. Even covering women's sports, that a lot of the early years of women's soccer, that was how things were. So I was used to it. So it didn't bother me. I am a member of a local cigar bar. 95% of the time I am there, I am the only woman in the building. And there might be a dozen people there. So for me, I am comfortable in situations like that. It does not sort of bother me. So for me, being in this space isn't a problem. For a lot of women, it is. A lot of women, like, I know some women who are seen more conventionally attractive, and their comments are not about their points. Their comments are about, like, people making lewd comments towards them. So it's like there's both ends of that spectrum, right? Like, if you're what they deem unattractive, you're getting comments on that. If you're what they deem attractive, you're going to get comments on that, and your points don't matter. Like, I have joked with Matt that if I came on in a onesie, like the onesie that we all make fun of for Matt, lovingly make fun of, I am going to get comments on, like, any comment about me is not going to be lovingly on the onesie and then my point, right? It's going to be, why would you go on the internet dressed like that? because I've had those comments before, right? So those comments, like there's a reason that I am shot the way I am, that you're getting me from about collarbone up, and then I have usually just a plain t-shirt on. Like there are reasons for this, right? Like I have done this long enough to do that. So it's a different space for women. Women are held to a different standard. I wish there were more women. I genuinely do, because I think that it would help with some of the frankly the sexism. It would help with some of the my wife is not smart enough, or my player 2 is not smart enough to do this. How do I color code her credit cards because she's not smart enough to figure out don't use the the CSR to get groceries or whatever. Like there are comments like that. Now in the Stack Your Points Discord, I will be very upfront. There is not a lot of that, thankfully. Because I don't think I would be the first person to call that if there was. And I am very, like, the reason I enjoy doing this so much is the community we're building. And that would get called out, which makes me very happy. But in other places, that is not the case. Like, I have been in probably half a dozen to a dozen credit card themed Discords at this point, and that is not the case in all of them. And that is partly like, there have been women who have joined Discords, and then they, like, within a week, they are gone. And then if I DM'd them and like, hey, are you good? They're like, yeah, I'm not dealing with the guys in there. And I get it. So I have a lot of thoughts on this, as you can imagine.
Yeah, certainly. Coming from where I am, like, I don't have those experiences. I can't speak to those experiences, obviously. It's unfortunate that is the way things can be, and like the internet can be a less than desirable place, even though the internet is supposed to be a place of free and exchanging ideas and openness. But like, a lot of people can mess things up for the greater good. Just a lot of people can fuck things up for no reason.
I mean, a lot of the women I know who make content that doesn't involve their face or their voice write under either initials, or I know some women who did sports media for years that wrote under a man's name, like wrote under a male sounding name. Yep. Either their middle name was gender neutral, so it didn't matter, or they would just use initials. Like that's the reason, like I used RJ when I did sports, and that has followed me to other areas and sort of how I am online, just because it becomes something where if you don't know the person you're talking to, you tend to be respectful. As soon as I say I'm a woman, I have seen their tone change with me in the conversation, literally, because it's text. I've seen their tone change as soon as I say, well, I'm a woman.
Yeah.
And it changes, and then the conversation is now about that fact. It's not about, but if it's just RJ somewhere, like most people will assume I'm a dude, and then the conversation is about the conversation. It's not about the fact I'm a woman. So it's an interesting place, right? Like I work with mostly women, so I go from that space to credit card YouTube, which is quite a decent amount of men. I am always excited when women join in Stack Your Points Discord, simply because I know it is a place where there is not going to be that level of issue, right? Like we have other, we have people with strong opinions one way or another, but that fact is not going to be a factor. And that is from me, but that is also from Matt and Tariq and Lonnie. And I all of the people in there help to point that out. Like Keith and Jason and Spathco and all the rest would, I think, stand up just as quickly for it, which again, this is why I love the community we're building with the show.
Yeah. No, we wouldn't do anything where like we pose as our spouses, or we pose as our partners, or we pose as anything else. I've noticed in other communities where like some stupid ass toxic nonsense and blatant fraud can certainly come across. Not going any further than that, but like I've seen it. I've documented it. I've even flagged it to some of the issuers of credit cards. Like, hey, this person who like claimed they were doing this is not what this this was not above board. Has anything happened from it? I haven't been told of anything, but like, hopefully they get shut down. But Andrew, would love to have you join us on the Stacker Point side. Check out stackerpoints.com or the Stacker Points YouTube. We should have a link over to the Discord over from there. It's a pretty healthy place. It's a healthier place than most.
Yes,
I will say. We had Sin M join us. We have a couple other comments to jump through. When is the new Alaska card coming out? So the end of Alaska eligible transfers from American Express is going to be on June 30th. I'm going to say probably sometime in mid-July or early August, we will hear about the rest of the details from that card. And an official launch will likely be toward the end of official, like the unofficial end of summer. So probably around Labor Day, I think we might be a good time for that. The only thing we really know about this card is it's going to potentially allow for a lounge access at Alaska Airlines lounges, and it's going to get you 3 times points on foreign transactions, both foreign transaction fees, I believe, and foreign transactions that are made when you use the card outside of the country. Everything else, we'll have to see. But I would put a big bet on that end of Q3 or sometime in Q3. Probably later Q3 than beginning of Q3.
Yeah.
Keith, airline co-brand cards usually suck as earners. As earners, yes. But like the benefits that airline co-brand cards can give you is super useful. RJ, was the CSR application for the welcome offer, or did you really like the refresh?
The CSR application was actually for science. People were saying that they were applying, pulling their application, and then got accounts anyway. So I was like, well, let's see what happens. And I pulled my application and I got a hard pull. So I got bit. But, you know, sometimes if you get to the point where your total number of inquiries is just red, like one more is not going to kill you.
Inquiries don't matter. Like they matter a little bit, but they don't matter as opposed to like utilization or payment history. So like, go forth. Yeah, QC Man also mentioned Calby found an edit hotel in Atlanta that's $185 ish a night that he plans to do a video review of, but it does seem like most of the edit properties are pricey. Yeah, the edit is pretty pricey. You're gonna find like the occasional like interesting property. It's gonna take some work, and that is a big hang up for me. I also don't know how much of the edit credit is use it or lose it in those 6 months, in those 6 month time frames. Mm-hmm. That's going to be a science thing. Honestly, like whatever you can get out of the edit credit, you can get out of the edit credit. Like, I'm sort of at the point where like I will write off the edit credit unless I can find something amazing that works for me. But I'm not going to go out of my way to prioritize the edit credit over other credits on the card.
Yeah.
Like I am more likely to spin up the Apple TV Plus and the Apple Music Plus. I am more likely to try to finagle about $300 of value out of the DoorDash credit. I'll get $300 out of the travel credit. I think there's an Instacart credit coming on the Sapphire Reserve and the rest of the personal lineup from Chase because that wasn't announced when Instacart came back. I think there's more coming there. I could certainly utilize that. And then like maybe 150 on the StubHub side of things, but like StubHub sucks, honestly. Like StubHub is a shitty company. I would have much rather seen that than like Go Ticket. Like, there's certainly other purveyors on the used ticket market that I would have preferred over. I would have preferred a Ticket Bastard comment, a Ticket Bastard credit over StubHub, because like at least with Ticket Bastard and Live Nation, and I call it Ticket Bastard for a reason. At least with that, it's direct. And that would have been preferable. But like SeatGeek would have been better, because SeatGeek at least is like guaranteed through MLB.
Yeah.
So how I finally end up like valuing things, even at the end of the day, I'm still fine paying $4.95 for the Sapphire Reserve, because the Sapphire Reserve is still better than the Sapphire Preferred, as the Sapphire Preferred is currently configured. But that card is going to get refreshed in the next couple of months anyway. So we'll see. Keith, Long Island every weekend for 18 months is nightmare fuel for me. The horror. Yep. The internet is such a cesspool most days. I think the internet was a mistake. That's fair. I'm sure the folks at DARPA, when they came up with the protocols, would have been much happier if they hadn't done it. But you live, you learn. Sheila A joins us. Laugh out loud. I've been tempted to color code my husband's cards. This is a take from the other side of things, and go for it, because like I know it happens on the other side. Do it. If you got if you have a Chase Freedom on the Chase Freedom Flex, and it's like, use this for gas next quarter, like slap a post-it on there, do whatever you got to do. If you got to color code cards to tell him how to use his cards so that you can get the best points, I am in full support of it, because God knows how many guys have to put like a gas sticker on things for their partner.
Have to, or do it because they've had their wives do 97 other things that day.
Fair question. I am not in a position to defend my have to statement. So yeah, no, you're right in calling me out on that one.
I'm just asking. I'm asking questions, Matt.
I have a hard copy of the Freedom Flex arriving at my house at some point in the next couple of days. Like, I'm just handing that over to my partner and just being like, hey, gas purchases, gas stations from July 1st to September 30th, use this card. Use the Hilton as a backup. Use this primarily. Don't touch the Freedom Unlimited. But I'm not going to patronize them with like a post-it that goes over it being like, gas. Because I'd rather defenestrate myself than do that.
Smart. Thank you, Sid. I am glad you enjoy me. Oh. I am like fine bourbon. I am an acquired taste.
God, I would have preferred some fine fucking bourbon than the shit I was drinking tonight. Supercell, do you know when Marriott's 5-night offer is ending? Offhand, I don't. I'm sorry.
Matt knows so few things at the moment. No offense, Matt.
I will say this. If it's on the Chase side, I would usually give them 8 to 12 weeks for a limited time offer, because that is 2 to 3 months. I feel like that offer is currently on the Boundless. I could be wrong. If it's on the American Express side, something like 12 to 16 weeks, that's usually like a 3 to 4 month offer, but 3 months is usually pretty good, just because that is a whole calendar quarter. So I would go with 3 months. Double check the websites. Marriott.com/bonvoy.com/credit cards, I think, should help you.
Or just go to the website and look for the credit card link.
That too. QC Man, 3x on foreign transactions is interesting. Yeah, that's the most interesting aspect of the Alaska card that's coming out. Like, it's going to get you Alaska lounge access in some form or fashion. I think it's also going to get you priority pass. Don't quote me on that right now because of my current state of mental well-being. We don't know what's going to get you for Alaska flights. We don't know what's going to get you on things like dining or grocery. It's going to be an upper tier card, and 3x on foreign transactions is going to be the main draw of that card. God only knows what the hell else they're putting on that card.
Can't wait for Josh to get it for pins so we can go to Disneyland Paris all he wants.
Why are they not introducing a higher end Alaska business card? That is my question.
That's a good question. Maybe it's coming. Maybe they're working on it.
Fight AV in the credit card creator boxing match. I think you'd win. Sir.
No comment.
I have to lose. Okay.
A fourth grader?
What?
I said a fourth grader?
Depending on how chunky that fourth grader is, sure. At minimum, sure. Let's say a fourth grader, because like they're usually about 80 to 100 pounds now.
I was giving you a range.
Terrible diets that American children have. If I lost 80 pounds and was a little bit more agile, maybe. I don't know.
Boxing is good for like cardio and stuff.
Yeah. My physical health is going to be like a whole other separate thing.
Journey.
Yeah.
I have
a provider set up for that on Tuesday. Anyway, Andrea, I'm in my 30s, have a background in filmmaking, not finance, but I'm so into the credit card game and in the personal finance, but I feel like a unicorn in all credit card YouTube. Andrea, would love to hear more from you. Like the Stack Your Points Discord is always open, and in all the credit cards comment sections. Yeah, I mean, like I try to be fairly open about things. Like my channel is primarily just like, here's what's going on in the credit card world. Here's my thoughts on the credit card world. Here's what I'd like to see change. Here's what changes I'd like to see in the credit card worlds. But like, we get a little bit more philosophical on the Stack Your Point side of things. We check out our Discord. It's a pretty fantastic place. Like, we'd love to have you join.
Yeah.
StackYourPoints.com. Link to the Discord there. Definitely check it out. I would appreciate your insight in there.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what categories is like for filmmaking and stuff. Like
yeah.
What categories would interest you?
Yeah. Pick your brain on filmmaking because my editing sucks. I am bare bones at best. I'm bare bones when I am taking the place of RJ when editing the podcast. So
Matt and I have very different styles. We'll just leave it
there. Super Sal, can we use the Apple credit on the CSR or for their other plans they offer? Apple One?
No.
Apple One no.
Nope.
It's a direct link. So if Apple One Family is working for you, stay with Apple One Family. If you are someone who does not use Apple News, does not use Apple Fitness, does not utilize the full 2 terabytes, you may want to reevaluate because it's going to give you the Apple TV Plus and the Apple Music, and that's valued at $250 a year. However, and I will say, if you are someone who gets use out of the 2 terabyte credit and you're using Apple News and you're using Apple Fitness and Apple Music, and you're sharing it with your family, and the 2 terabytes on iCloud, it's better to stick with Apple One. There's Reddit posts about this at this point. Like, I was looking at it, I was rethinking things. Like, for me personally, it sort of makes sense to sign up for the Apple exclusive Plus on the CSR and just continue paying on my Apple card my 2 terabytes of space on iCloud, because I use that for backing up my my MacBook Pro and my iPhone. Beyond that, like, I haven't jumped into Apple Fitness. Maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't. We'll see what happens with my provider. We'll see what happens with my new fitness journey that I'm going to be starting soon. I don't know. But for now, it would make sense for me to do that, but it does not include Apple TV. It does not include Apple One. It does not include Apple One Family. If that is a priority for you, you're not going to get value out of the CSR credit.
Right.
Unfortunately. QC Man, are you trying to get to use the $300 dining credit, or did you find any restaurants in the CSR dining program that you liked? Nothing immediately sprang to mind, but I am not usually on Manhattan. But if I were to take a family trip to Manhattan, or I wanted to do like a fancy romantic getaway, I'm someone who could utilize that credit for a romantic getaway and just be like, we're going to go to New York City. We're going to have a really nice dinner. We're going to stay at a really nice hotel for the night. We don't have to think about the kid. We don't have to think about our lives very, very much. Like, it is just going to be an escape. I could utilize that 300, like at least 150 of the $300 credit, or say we're going to do this twice a year, which I would greatly appreciate. But it is going to depend on where you are. It's going to depend on what restaurants there are available to you. I would utilize the restaurants on the Chase website immediately, just because you're going to be fine from there. But this credit is not awesome. I would rather use this $150 in the back half of the year. I would rather use that for EatsCon, and I would rather take the $150 out of EatsCon, because Chase owns the infatuation. The Chase dining situation is just such a goddamn mess. It's not even fucking funny.
Mm-hmm. Yes, there are stickers you can buy.
Yep. Oh, thank you, Keith. Writer's Tears is one of my favorite whiskeys. Writer's Tears is fantastic.
That. I used to sip that back in my days when I used to drink.
I do not sip Writer's Tears. But I also buy Writer's Tears to drink at home. Mm-hmm. When I am drinking Writer's Tears, not at my house, yes, I sip the shit out of Writer's Tears. GB, Andrew, glad you could make it to the live. Yep, absolutely. Andrew, we love you. We love having you here in the live.
Yes.
Super Sal.
Yes. 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 And yes.
Yeah. Andrew, please, stackyourpoints.com. Check out the Discord. I think you'd enjoy it. I don't know what level of stuff you'd get out of it, because the Mathnasium is the Mathnasium, but I don't want to hear you.
There's other stuff.
Oh yeah, plenty of other stuff.
Not everybody wants to get into 8 spreadsheets deep in math.
Yeah. Come check out the ladder.
My yup was to this question, by the way.
Yeah. Do you think Chase will make changes to the Ritz-Carlton card? Yes. Yep. Just like RJ said. Yep. What in the shortest terms, yes. Slightly longer terms, Chase will find a way to raise this to $6.95. I don't know how they're going to do it.
Oh, it's going to be higher than $6.95.
Yep. Can't disagree.
It's going to have to be.
Probably. Keith, get a NAS, man. Back everything up to the NAS. Yes, but then I have to do the... You speak 100% truth. I am currently not in a state to think about network attached storage.
I have a drive connected to my hub. I have 2 of them, actually. I back up to that. I've tried NASs. I've tried many NASs. I live with somebody who did networking for 35 years. And my systems like to break NASs. I don't know why. They break. So I use Samsung drives, and they work flawlessly. So,
Here's what I'd say. I would love a Drobo, but Drobos don't exist anymore.
You don't. No. I've also had that conversation many times.
The next is there's Seagate Professional, they have this new sort of network attached thing that I would love to do.
Seagate makes you buy their own drives. You can't use whatever drive you want.
Yes, it is. It is proprietary, and it's a pain in the ass.
And Matt also has a Mac, by the way, Keith.
Yeah. Well, I have a Windows computer as well.
QC man, the Platinum's going up $200.
Yes. But my Mac Surface, my Windows Surface laptop is a 2020 variant, so it's probably going to be end of lifed in the next 2 years, which is a pain in the ass. And I might play the game. Can I throw Linux on this? But Supercell, good luck on your fitness journey. Thank you, sir. that is going to be starting in earnest probably next week. We'll see what happens. Rodrigo, what's the logic behind giving their customers only from October to December to use their first set of credits? God only knows with Chase. Chase has been copying American Express, and this is where they dropped the ball because, like, give us the opportunity to use the goddamn credits as soon as possible. I don't know what they were thinking. It's stupid.
It's weird. I don't know why.
Yeah. It's weird and stupid. JB, I enjoy Woodford. Woodford Reserve is really good bourbon.
The double oaked is quite delicious.
Yeah. Yeah. 521 Taipei, how long do you think Chase will keep the reserve bonus live? I think the current reserve bonus will be at least a quarter, probably a little bit more.
At least until fair. October, I would say.
Yeah. I think the 100K is the minimum going forward for the reserve. And I think Chase may do dynamic on the reserve, where like up to 125, up to 150, like American Express does with the Platinum. I think you're going to see like the specialty, like 150 guaranteed, probably going forward in like 6 to 12 months.
Yeah.
But I want to say that the current 100,000 plus the $500 travel credit is going to be until at least October. No, RJ's good there.
Thank you. I appreciate it, man.
Andrea, I could totally help with lighting, and I'm also pretty good at DaVinci Resolve for color and editing if you need help. I would love to learn DaVinci Resolve. I would also love to use like the transcript edit. So background on my video editing, I typically use Descript for transcript editing because I'm not necessarily, I will admit to being lazy. Transcript editing is more cognitively functional.
You're not lazy. You want to get your videos out as quickly as possible.
Yes.
You feel lazy because you have internal pressure that you feel like you need to do more than you do. So you default to lazy to hide the fact that you're not living up to your own expectations. But, you know, I figured I psychoanalyzed everybody else. I might as well psychoanalyze you tonight, Matt.
Yeah, that's a whole other thing that I'm going to be working on my own. Started my first session today. But yeah, that is definitely fair. I would love to take the time to learn DaVinci Resolve. I would also love to take the time to, like, one of the other creators, Fat Stacks Academy, has like showed me that DaVinci Resolve does have like a transcript editing capability, just so that I don't default to Descript's Underlord. And like Descript's Underlord is great for, I need this done right now.
Mm-hmm.
But if I could take more time and still have a transcript or still have a way to like edit and color correct and make myself look more presentable, I'm sort of at a place with my channel where like looking more professional, presenting more professionally would probably be a good idea. So like I am open to suggestions there, and the Stack Your Points Discord and like talking to me on Discord would probably be the easiest way to do that.
Yeah. Discord's like AOL chat rooms. Like if you're in your 30s, you probably remember the AOL chat room. It's just not nearly as creepy. Well, ours is not. Ours is not. I cannot vouch for all. Ours is not.
Discord being decentralized, there's some stuff that happens.
Like Reddit, there are places ye shall not wander.
Yeah. Max don't always play with NASA's. Yup. It's got to be like a Mac Pro or like
I killed them. Like I look at them and they die, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think that matters.
Yeah.
They're two different issuers.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're two different issuers.
Oh, the Ritz. Yeah. I'm going to tell you this right now. It is 2025. The contract that between Chase, American Express, and Marriott runs until 2034. In 2035, Marriott will only have one issuer for their cards, and it won't be Chase.
Yeah.
Marriott might still be a transfer partner for Chase.
But they won't
Chase
have
is losing their cards.
Yeah.
Backing up your video to a NAS is a good practice. Yup. Right now, I rely on a physical hard drive to back up to, and then whatever's on my hard drive that gets backed up every day to Backblaze, even though Backblaze doesn't back up my hard drive.
Samsung, man.
Yeah. Marriott Platinum status is brilliant, which is only 650. Ritz is gold status. Yeah, no, the
Two
Ritz,
different issuers, and and there are things on the Ritz card that are not on the Brilliant.
just bought last year's Synology model. I wasn't messing with their stupid proprietary crap. Yep, no, that's fair. Happy to join the Discord. The only thing is I would be new to that platform. Yeah, it's
AOL chat, but not creepy. At least ours. Yeah. That's my pitch.
Yeah. Discord is like a multi-group chat. Yep, depending on the like Reddit. Yeah, sort of. Like there are like Stack Your Points would be its own subreddit. Other creators have their own Discords as well. Those would be their specific subreddits.
Yeah.
It's not as creepy as some other subreddits. So yeah. GB, yeah, kind of, but more. And Dr. Vinny is back. So I had to go like 2 hours ago, and it sounded like you were wrapping up then. Well, what in that drink? What is in that drink? LOL. How are you still live and coherent? I don't know about my coherency. I have stopped the marshmallow chocolate whiskey, and I have had a couple of Mountain Dew Zero Sugars.
Yeah. But I do think it is 11:41 now.
Yes.
I do think it is time for us at 3 hours and this might be our longest one yet.
Yes.
I think it is about time because I get to call Alliant now because the email they gave me earlier to send in ID didn't work. It bounced back. So I get to call Alliant at 11:42 p.m. Eastern and be like, hey, can I have an email that works, please?
That's fair. I have to do a drops language session before midnight or else I lose my streak again.
Spathco!
Made it in time for the end. Well, better late than never.
We shouted you out several times this episode.
Several times. We even mentioned Mathnasium.
And we were nice. I was nice. I don't know what Matt said.
I said nothing. What are you talking about?
I was picking on you, Matt. Relax.
Pita Pocket. Dr. Vinny Boombots.
We're going to end right there.
Absolutely. Well, folks, if you like what we do, head over to the Stack Your Points channel. If you're watching on my channel on the simulcast, please check over to Stack Your Points, like and subscribe at Stack Your Points. You can check out my channel as well. My channel is slowly growing. My memberships are huge. More members only videos coming soon. A spicy mid-year what the fuck is going on in credit card world. I've got some takes. Be on the lookout for those. Maybe I'll record them tonight in my current state. So check that out for the members only content. QC Man dropping a $1.99 super chat. The drink fund. Yeah, I gotta refill that. Thank you so much for that. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you so much, Andrea. Please check out StackYourPoints.com. Go over to the Discord. We'd love to have you. Take care of Stack Your Points community. Absolutely. We have our side project coming out in a couple of weeks, so be on the lookout for that. If you are Star Trek inclined,
we will. I'm sure we will talk about it here before it launches because there's a little crossover. It literally was born in Alive.
Yeah, we'll maybe bring the mystery third co-host on potentially. Yeah, check out Stack Your Points. We've got tomorrow's video is the mailbag, the full mailbag. And check us out on Monday for the Monday is going to be the topic Spotlight. Tuesday is going to be the micro mailbag. Next Wednesday will be the new topics episode. So check us out there.
And it'll be 1 year anniversary.
And it'll be our 1 year anniversary. So
we've been doing this for a year, man.
Insane.
I know.
Tell your friends, tell your family if you like what we do and you think that any friends or family would get any benefit out of the stuff that we do on the podcast. Help us out getting it to 500. I'm going to be doing some stuff on that side of things. And yeah, we appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for your time. And we will see you soon.